Hi, everybody, and welcome to the RHAP B&B for week 9 of Survivor 45. My name is Mike Bloom. I hope everyone who celebrates had a very happy Thanksgiving, where you all assumingly sat around the table with your one singular turkey with no utensils and just dug in with your hands and let the oil drip down them. We are here to talk about yet another episode of Survivor 45 as we are nearing the end game. We are, I think, 1 month away from the finale of Survivor 45. Is the end game starting to take shape? This vote definitely indicated something, but of course we're not entirely sure. It's as gelatinous as that cranberry sauce from a can. Now, of course, this episode was all about trios facing off, and so we have assembled a very motley trio to hopefully take down everyone in the process. No journey for us. Of course, I am joined, as always, week after week by the great Liana Boraas. Liana, how are you?
I'm doing well. As long as there's no quick maths, I think I'll be okay here. That is also not my strong suit. I was rooting for Emily to get her vote back, but Austin proved his prowess. I was very impressed.
Did you use the British use of maths?
Yeah, because I'm cool.
Okay, well, did not realize that was a marker for coolness. Out are the leather jackets, in are using British slang.
Yeah.
Here we have, I suppose, to use another piece of British parlance, a bird here to talk about a very bird-filled season in Survivor 45. And listen, I talk about motley trios, but here she is, if you're watching the video, representing her own trio, a trio within a trio, a turducken, perhaps. So excited to welcome back to the B&B, Ali Lasher. Ali, how are you?
You know, how I've been answering that on the Challenge podcast, which I was not on this week. So I missed my own podcast to be here. But that's not a real one-to-one, but let's say that. On a macro level, very bad. Right in this immediate moment, I'm very, very happy to be here with the two of you. I am a huge fan of your work separately and also this situation that is the B&B, as you well know. So anytime I get a text from Mike Bloom, it's like, all right, how do we make that work? Because I love coming here. And already in the 5 minutes before we started recording, I've like cried, I have tears in my eyes from laughing. So I'm very, very excited.
Well, again, for those of you that are watching the video and might not know the context of Ali's background, of course, the three of us had the pleasure of attending last week's big New York City screening of the episode. In fact, I was sitting between these two. It was almost a setup for the B&B to come when we were watching episode 8.
Well, let's say this first, Mike. Let's say how that seating even happened, because Mike and I like walked up together. And then he blew by me to sit behind me when there was a totally open seat. And I was like, I could just let this go. That's not really my style, like letting things go, letting people just be comfortable, like living how they want and where they are. Mm-hmm. And I was like, hey, Mike, I'm going to demand now that you sit next to me. I didn't really care before, but now that you have big time me, I'm going to require it, which I don't regret because this is an iconic image.
Yeah, so this is an image from the CBS social media accounts. There were people with cameras on us at all times filming our reactions to the episode like it was some sort of horror movie. It was for like a 5-minute period when Austin was eating those fish eyes. And so Ali and I happened to make it. I still have absolutely no clue what this was in reaction to, because suffice it to say, we all watched last week's episode. A lot of like things happened that garnered this reaction. Also, shout out to like half of Puya's beard right there in the lurking in the background.
Yeah. I think it was when they like brought the auction table to the island and then did the money thing, because I remember feeling it early on that like, oh shoot, my mouth was just hanging open and I like this was very legitimate, and I was like and like I remember it being early, because then the rest of the time I was like serving face. I was like, I know I'm getting clipped. Like I'm getting clipped. I'm wearing pink and I'm getting clipped. But unfortunately it was the clip where I was like, oh, you're on camera, like your jaw's on the floor.
Imagine if you were just throwing face of like boom, bubbly cat, just the entire hour minute.
You couldn't see me in your periffs, but I was just like.
Were you like Jake at a certain point? You just sat and stared at me at a certain point when the votes were coming in.
Well, when I did stare at you, I actually in a text message to Matt Ligori described beat by beat the interaction you had with Jeff Probst, and I know you discussed this already with Maggie, but like this was before Liana was sitting next to you. Like I felt the energy radiating off of you. Like not to insert myself in your moment that had nothing to do with it, but I was there, you know, like I was an eyewitness primary source account. It was crazy.
I'm happy that this is continuing on. I think my favorite part about this shot though is like it's not, especially both of you, it's not like you're just like it's not like the Home Alone face of like it's you're just like kind of like 3/4 of the way excited. You're like,
Yeah, it's
but
like
not
Home Alone. There's no any at
yes,
the end of it.
exactly. Like only one
Also,
burglar this time.
one of my favorite facial features that sometimes comes out, subtle lazy eye here. I can't really point. You see one eye's like, one eye's there, and the other eye's like, I'm going to stay behind. And I love that.
I'll hang back. I'll meet you later.
Because I always have, one eye on Mike, one eye on the screen. I'm always, I see everything. That's how I knew what was happening with the Jeff.
Well, yeah, because everyone was looking at me being like, oh, where's your Malcolm moment? It's like, no, that's not going to happen this time around, okay? We were all devastated, including Kendra, though I did love how they opened this episode with Kendra doing her, like, silent cheers, like, here you go, Kelly. And then meanwhile, Jake's chortling down the beach about just living in the magnificence that he actually got to stay, even though it was not of his own doing. And, a little bit of second verse, same as the first here in this episode, where we once again get a Bruce win when he needs it the most. We once again get the vote between Jake and a fellow Bello. And we once again get said fellow Bello being blindsided, thinking that it was Jake. But even before we get into that, in general, Ali, what have your thoughts been about Survivor 45 now that, again, we are only a month away from crowning a winner of this thing?
So I think episode to episode, very, very fun. Like, now that we're getting into whatever episode this is, it's like, is it the most like strategically interesting and set in terms of like the story arc of like who's been voted out? Like, no. Episode to episode, loving it, great, love it. I think that's like a big, I think people talk about this in like the new era of Survivor, but like the casting is just really great. Like, I think these people are really great players, people to watch, characters, whatever. I also think there's just like, and people who are actually on the show, please correct me or don't let me live in my own fantasy world. But like, there seems like a good level of like gamesmanship, sportsmanship going on. Like, I don't know. I know even the Kelly, like the what the hell guys. Like, no, but that's fun. But that's like, what the hell? Like, I don't know. There just feels like good. I don't know. There just doesn't feel like mean. It feels like playing like you got because you're a great player, and like then she's sitting there upset, but like I don't know that I don't get the sense that she's like upset about it today. Like, there aren't like these massive grudges. I don't know. This just as one viewer's opinion, it feels really fun. Even Jake showing up week after week expecting to go out, and he's like, I might go out, I'm gonna try. Oh my god, I didn't go out. Like, I like that.
Yeah, Jake, I love Jake's confessional at the beginning of the episode. And I think this is kind of like why he's really starting to come in as a main character about the, hi, I'm Jake, and I'm still here, whatever it was that he said in his opening confessional. Like, that was very funny. I did think, though, that there was a lot of still introspection. Like, we got a lot from Bruce, for example, as a result of this vote. You got Kendra kind of like reassessing what's happening. Emily obviously is trying to now make this move. So you have people, I think, strategically also coming in and saying like, okay, this is not a great place for me to be in. I need to change something about my behavior. For Bruce, that's obviously more personal. For Emily, it's like her spot in the game. So I do think that we're like at a little bit of an inflection point where we could sort of continue down the same Reba path, or we're going to see maybe some sort of shift. I think it could have happened in this episode if not for this weird, bizarre twist with the votes. Like, I understand the missing vote last week because my interpretation, motivate people to spend their money. This week, it just felt so weird and so unnecessary. And like, did you just not have enough to put in the episode? So you wanted to like film this extra journey? I don't know. This choice, I was like, I didn't understand why.
I mean, it's a very valid question. What I find so interesting is that Survivor 44, even looking back, when it was airing to when the season 45 was, just a hop, skip, and a jump. It was even airing while season 45 was filming. I remember the first half of 44 was just filled with so much advantage junk. The first episode, they introduced 5 different idols and advantages. They had that entire series of unfortunate events that led to Matt Blankenship going out. And then the second half of the season, they like went cold turkey. They really just stopped doing really anything. And they just said, okay, we'll let these people do what they want to with the toys that we gave them. It's almost the exact opposite in 45, where 45, the first half, with the exception of like Mergatory and the first, full swap of the new era, still felt relatively light. We did have journeys, but there were 2 total this entire season. There wasn't anything game breaking or new that was introduced. Maybe that sort of goodwill advantage, but other than that, it wasn't anything that was relatively that new in terms of having a huge effect on the game. And then the second half, we have this split tribal twist. We had this auction advantage disadvantage, and now we have this, okay, a third of you won't get your vote, but you can earn it back. And I'm trying to figure out, like, okay, did they take the right lesson from 44, but apply it in the wrong way of, okay, we don't need to apply it here, we need to apply it there. I think, Liana, you bringing up time is a very salient point, because I've been also covering this season of The Amazing Race, which was, like Survivor 45, produced with 90 minutes in mind. And they said, okay, we're going to be kind of light on tasks early on because there's so many teams. And then when it gets down to a smaller number, then we're going to put more tasks into an episode to kind of fill out the time. I wonder, Ali, is Survivor doing the same thing? If they're like, okay, there's fewer people left in the game, we can't necessarily go to all these different faces. We can't go to 3 different tribes for 3 different stories. Instead, let's add 3 stage challenges and a journey in there to really fill out that runtime.
So are you saying this mechanism was a filler queen? That's
a
what
little
you're
bit,
saying.
yeah. I think
Yes, gay ass bitch. Joey J.
So that's interesting, because I was trying to think of it like, what was the ideal outcome? And I like, was it that all 3 of them would earn their vote back? Were they surprised? Like, and in that case, like, maybe that is more evidence that it's a filler kind of move, because it wasn't like on the journey only one of them would be able to get their vote back, like we've seen, like a mechanism or like wager this, wager that, whatever, have a sandwich, lose your vote, like some kind of choice. All 3 of them technically could have gotten their vote back, which made me think maybe production thought the more interesting story would be this lack of information or information asymmetry, where all 3 of them could have had their vote and then decided whether or not they reveal that. And so like the main tribe doesn't really know how many votes they're working with, but maybe all of them actually have their vote. That was interesting to me, like that Austin comes back and lies. It never really comes out, but like, maybe I don't know. That makes me like sad. They shouldn't be doing things for the game just to stretch the time, because there's a lot of things that I feel like I was missing. Like I was missing more of a confrontation or a discussion between Jake and Reba about like, hey, thanks for saving me. That was wild. And like have them actually explain the decision, even if it's just to camera or to each other or to Kendra. Like, I kind of feel like Jake just comes back in the same position where he's still like, let me know if you can use me, without any conversation of like the decision to save him without telling him, completely neutering him. But like, we're just super fans, whatever. I would be interested in more scenes about like the post-tribal aftermath. Like the Bruce scene was very interesting. We could have had that with a couple other people too.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm not a producer and I'm just a viewer.
I mean, I completely agree, right? Like, I want to better understand the dynamics of what's going on, of like, okay, what also, I mean, somebody's got to be thinking about endgame plans. Like, Drew, come on, Drew. I know you're thinking about endgame. Like, let me see it, please.
There was a smidge of that. So the 2 things I want to bring up are, we see both Austin and Julie in different confessionals when the concept of we got to get rid of D is brought up. They both say, I don't want to get rid of her. In fact, Julie says, oh, I actually want to go to the end with D. I never want to write her name down. I'm curious, from the 2 of you, do you think it's more likely, A, this is setting up that Austin and or Julie will cut D down the line because they know she's such a big threat, or B, this is part of the like why D wins story, that she surrounds herself with these people that would never want to get rid of her?
I think it's gotta be a why D wins. I mean, or at least like, I just don't see, no way Julie is gonna cut her. No way. And no way Austin is gonna cut her either. Like, look at find someone who looks at you the way Austin looks at D. Like, There's no way. I just genuinely don't think that that's going to happen. I think it's whether or not the outside people are going to have any chance at sort of rallying some kind of rebuttal against the Reba 4. And that's why I'm extra frustrated about the losing the votes, because I think that Emily and Katura, maybe Emily could have rallied something, maybe not, but I just wanted that to be a possibility.
Yeah, I think D is in a really great position in that Austin, I think, has a reasonable belief that he could beat her. Like, there's a lot of Austin's game left to play, right? He's got these 2 idols, one of which he chopped the amulet folks with, and people don't know about that. So I just think there's Austin's game is going to explode in the back half of this season, or it's not, but it could. I think the problem for him is he probably will never need the idol, so he won't get to really make a show of them in front of the jury or do anything cool with it. But I think Austin has it wouldn't be insane if Austin were to go to the end with D. And that's what you want, right? You want to be aligned with people who think they could beat you, but then you can really beat them and you go to the end with them. I don't know what Julie's plan is. I don't, more than Julie though, because she has a legitimate friendship with D. I don't know what Drew's plan is, because I think Drew is 4th in line in Reba in terms of jury votes. And he seems like somebody who would be thinking about that. However, he seems to have a really overinflated sense of his game, or what moves he's getting credit for in the eyes of the jury, or how the jury will perceive him.
That's interesting. I don't know if he's 4th in line, though, just because I wonder how much were people's eyebrows raised with the way he talks to tribal council when he brings up the titular Sword of Damocles. If he gave Jeff Probst a boner in that moment, what's he going to do with the jury several days from now? He is one of the most well-spoken contestants in this season. Do you really want to give him a shot there at the end? And if he does, I don't know. I don't have any reason right now to not think he has a better shot of getting votes than Julie at this point, just because the story we're being told of Julie is just almost the Monica Culpepper story of, okay, you have these chances to make a move and you're not doing it. She's the one who, quote unquote, loses the vote in this episode because she wants Jake out. She fails on that. D succeeds. So again, that's why I sort of asked, okay, are we foreshadowing some sort of Julie cutting D moment? Because if she doesn't, I'm just not really seeing anything. Maybe there's sort of a respect friendship thing that would get her that requisite 1 vote to be the runner-up like we've seen in every New Era season. But right now, from what I've been seeing from both Drew and Julie, I think Drew is perceived as someone that would get more jury votes than Julie.
Isn't it the most okay, you're right. I'm being personal because I'm the way Drew talks, while he's very brilliant and that's obvious, it's very condescending to me personally, just sitting at home on my couch. I'm why are you condescending to me like that? I'm just here eating popcorn. So I don't know how it's being perceived on the island, and if that's cute and impressive and great. And it is impressive and great, but I would not vote for him. I sitting there, I would not vote for him. And I also think he's maybe likely to go out at fire. Maybe Julie's in that spot that you take, and so he's 4 there. I don't know. I could see Austin being Drew and fire, and you have a D, if D wins that final immunity, something like that, sends the boys to fire. But fine, let's put him, I'll even put him 3rd in that, and then I still want to say what's his plan, because I don't think he beats Austin or D easily.
I mean, the thing is let's say Drew wants to go to Final 5 with the Reba 4 and Emily, okay? And then him, Austin, and Emily can take out D at 5, and then I see what happens. Final four. I don't know. That's what I can see. I mean, because obviously he clearly seems to recognize yeah, maybe taking out D is okay, just not now. At least that was the sense that I got from this episode. But you're going to start running out of time and options in order to actually make that move.
Here's my question, and it's not just because I'm a Boston-obsessed girly, but why would anybody get rid of Jake? Why would Emily be in that 5? And I know he can be slippery, and he tried to make a crazy move. I do feel like Jake is the one suffering the most from the lack of food in terms of his thought process. But if I can't think of a better person to sit with in the jury, I mean, sorry, at final 3, I rarely, and I know Mike, I think you were talking about this maybe at the live event, but like, when have we seen, or maybe it was on the B&B, like, when do we see somebody left out of a vote that saves them? Like,
Yeah.
that is amazing. That was so exciting to me. And like, I need that to pay off with like the biggest GOAT of all time. And I hate to call Jake the biggest GOAT of all time because he was my winner pick and I love Jake and we stan. But in this situation, Reba has effectively neutered him.
Yeah.
And like, that's great. Use that then. I don't know why they're just like thinking of letting him go. Like, you got to keep him.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of costs and benefits here where, yes, I agree. It could definitely be pitched as Jake's here by our own doing. He did not do anything to help his own game. He was kept in by the grace of Reba. On the other hand, someone like Jake, who is up there with Drew as one of the most well-spoken members of this cast, who has been able to make a meal out of tribal council, and he certainly needs one, could turn that in his favor as well. Use this as an argument of like, I was dead to rights so many times, and I'm alive right now. I may be the dog, but I'm the cat right now. Caleb wasn't able to do that. I took that over from Caleb at this point. There also is the argument of like, well, I didn't, vote you out, and so therefore you don't have an axe to grind with me. I don't think that's the jury's sense from this particular season, but like Caleb, he tried to protect. Kelly, he technically didn't vote out there. Kendra is the exception, as he showcased by just staring daggers at her, which people were like, what the hell is he doing? I mean, to me, this was very much like a gloating move, I think. It was him just being like, oh, you thought it was me? Nope, sorry, honey, it's you.
Even more reason to go to the end with him.
Yeah. So I'm not sure. I think that obviously he's very out there, and I think that's something that I agree with you, Ali, could definitely be used against him in the end in terms of, again, if you're voting for the adamancy with which you played your game. But on the other hand, I feel like he might be winning in that story department over any of the Rebas.
So, go ahead, Liana. Sorry.
No, well,
I'm like ready to be like, I disagree.
No, I agree. I mean, I ultimately agree with Ali, and I just want to say one thing about Jake's name being thrown out. I feel like it's almost just a proxy. Like, it's just a thing that people throw out, and then they're like, okay, now we'll figure out the actual plan. Like Jake's the easy name to throw out. Now we'll actually think about what we want to do. Just because I really do think he could be a third place GOAT.
Because the storyline for Emily, I think, is really the storyline of what you were saying Jake could say, right? It's like, she was truly dead to rights. She was like a social outcast on her tribe. She put herself out there in front of all three tribes day one, like coming for Bruce. And then like changing.
And what a trendsetter. After now everyone's coming for Bruce. Like, she really manifested that on day one.
But whereas Jake, like, I don't know how you spin the like, he's not even spinning like what his strategy could be. Like, he's just showing up and saying like, Drew, I'm at your mercy until you want to send me out, and like, I'll hope for the best. Whereas Emily, I think, is like a really dangerous final three or even final five person.
And that's the other thing, again, that has me questioning Drew's strategy a bit, is that I know that he probably feels he could speak well for himself in the end, but like, if he plans on going to the end with people that can also put up a pretty damn good fight in that final tribal council, are you really doing yourself any favors? So listen, I will say also, this is probably my least favorite episode of the season. I think that the multi-tier challenge and the journey took up a lot of time. And I think the decision was interesting to see the sort of internal Reba battle of, okay, who's going to win out, Jake versus Kendra. We saw this last week a bit with, okay, Kelly versus Jake. In that case, Dee sort of lost the battle in losing Kelly. Now she wins the battle in losing Kendra. So I think that's something that'll be really interesting to track, and hopefully that will lead to a fracture. Let me suggest something, perhaps a way to like shine up this twist as much as we didn't like it from this episode. So we split into three groups, right? One trio went on the journey, one went back to camp, one went to the sanctuary.
Where good things happen.
We're good. Well, a little on and off in this particular episode. What if they stayed there until tribal council? What if all three groups only saw each other again that night? And then it's to your point about sharing information. Okay, who's going to say what? They're playing around. Okay, we don't know how many votes are there. But that would be really interesting because we almost got a mini version of it where here's Julie agreeing with Kendra and Bruce. Okay, Jake has got to go. And then meanwhile at camp, it's like, okay, it's probably going to be Kendra. Like, do those come to blows at tribal council? I think that could be an interesting way to just produce some more quite literal fire there by keeping them so far apart and basically having 3 different plans going into tribal council.
I think in that case, Jake almost certainly goes home in the same way that Caleb, I don't think, had a choice. Like, there was no choice when the tribe split at the merge, because I think then you can't keep 2 competing ideas in your head going into tribal. You can't be like, if Austin comes and winks at me, then we're voting this person and like whatever. So I do think that ends up, like, while could be very interesting, 9 times out of 10 would end up with just like the only person everyone knows they could agree on. They've all unanimously voted for him? That was Caleb. But like, they've all voted for him or been comfortable voting for him before. And like, that's, I think, what would have to happen there. That's what I would do if I were a player. I'd be like, we've got to just get rid of someone that everyone's going to be on board at, that I could say at tribal, guys, it's Jake. He's played his shot in the dark. Like, we just have to move on.
Yeah. I think it would, especially if there is a person like that. If someone like that doesn't exist, okay, then yeah, maybe you could see something that's more chaotic. In this particular circumstance, I feel like it would be Bruce if Bruce didn't win immunity, and then it's going to be Jake as the next easy person. Although Bruce would be awkward because they know he has the idol, so that might be a little bit more complicated. But I just had another thought about the whole journey thing. Okay, so the people who lose are theoretically the least physical. So was production like, those are going to be the nerds, and the nerds can do math. So we're going to send the nerds to go do math.
Yeah,
and then
this is in your wheelhouse now.
Back.
One for us, one for you.
Yes, exactly. So you may have lost the physical, but don't worry. There's a mental challenge that you can do instead. So maybe that.
What about the people who aren't super physical and also not great at math?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, they called it a math logic puzzle. You could just say math. It feels a little repetitive to just call it that. What if they did like a verbal logic puzzle where it's like, Sam is taller than Julie, but Julie is shorter than Marco, and you have to like put it in the right order, make the little grid like we did back in 6th grade.
Sixth grade. I have a book of logic puzzles I could read through right now.
Here's the lawyer talking about LSATs.
I hate math on reality television. I am on the record on the challenge loves to rely on an equation.
Yeah, because they love to watch these like dumb influencers fail at math.
But like, I hate that. I think Emily says it amazingly when she's like, where she says, "Oh, I could have been the decision maker, but I failed to solve a math problem." And it's like, so, and it's all part of the game. It's valid, whatever. I hate equations. I don't care if people who haven't eaten in 16 days can put a plus or minus in the right order. Like, I do not care. I can't stand math on reality television.
I think the thing is like, also from a TV perspective, like, how exciting is that gonna be to watch people like think?
So here's the thing. Were it another situation where had Austin continued to lose his vote, then there's the possibility of a 3-3 deadlock, and then we'll see what happens from there. If Austin is not so worried about his vote, should he have thrown this? Should he have just put like time signs and divisions all over the place? Because again, he said he wants to come across as like goofy, Shaka Bro surfer vibe. And he is an MBA student. Here he comes in being like, oh yeah, all my MBA friends would mock me if I didn't get this math equation. I mean, I think the people that would have their haunches most raised by this are the ones that are closest to him. So I think he benefits from that. But if that wasn't the case, if he comes back and he's like, yeah, I solved the math equation that the financial analyst couldn't solve. I mean, how do you not look at this guy being like, what else are you hiding from me?
That's why he lied. That's why he lied about it, right? Because it was like, oh, I don't want to leave the Reba 4 out, so I'm going to solve it, but then I'm going to lie about solving it because I don't want to come off as like a smart guy.
Has this season made the best case for Jeff needing to read every single vote, regardless of if 5's enough or 4's enough? Because like, I agree. Like, first when he lied, I was like, why is he lying about this? This is like so provable. Like, and then he's gonna have to go back and be like, sorry guys, I lied. Like, why are you lying about it? But
I adore him speed running the vote. It was so funny of like,
but he's not getting found out. Like when you have a unanimous vote, which like all of these votes have been like near unanimous votes, like I think Jeff needs to read all of the votes or say like that's enough. And since we have 12, like with 7 out of 12 votes, like
Mhm.
whatever.
I mean,
Yeah.
if I were there, I would honestly be like, and Jeff, how many more of those are in the urn? Can we just double check? Can I take a peek in there?
Mm-hmm.
Or is this sort of like a ballot box where it's illegal to do that?
You can't look in there. Because I remember I can't remember what Survivor said it, but they were like, you always want to be counting the vote, like always count the votes, how many for each person, and pay attention to that because that's going to give you a lot of valuable information. And so the fact that in both circumstances where Austin either did or did not vote, it never came to light, right? Both for the Caleb vote and for this one. I kind of like the fact that he can get away with it, but I also understand that also part of me wants to be like, no. I want the drama of them finding out that he actually did have his vote or someone did. So that means someone's lying. And then there's going to be sort of a series of inquisitions after that. That would be really, really fun to watch.
Who voted Sifu? Who had their vote?
Voted?
Like these are the
Exactly.
questions.
See, that's what happens when you read every vote. You get who voted Sifu.
Yes.
I do want to
go ahead.
Go ahead. No, please.
No, please, Mike.
Well, I want to talk about Bruce for a second. Not only to get your thoughts on all things Bruce, Ali, but also, as we've talked about, to get into this brand new side of what honestly might be one of the most like two-dimensional edits we have seen in the new era of here's crazy Uncle Bruce. He's a wild card. He's goofy, but he's also getting on people's nerves. And here's Bruce waking up, finding out that what he thought was his closest ally was one immunity win from getting rid of him. And he basically has to look in the mirror and be like, am I the problem? Am I the asshole? This is basically like one entire 5-minute sequence of Am I the Asshole come to life. And it's rare that we see at least it verbalized on screen. I think this certainly happens with a lot of reality TV contestants, but it's not shown that they're like, what does this say about me personally? That I think a lot has been said about these reality shows. People say, okay, it's a pressure cooker. It doesn't necessarily one-for-one match up with the way you interact in the real world. So it's very rare to not only have someone vocalize this, but have it be shown on TV that Bruce is like, oh my God, I treated this girl like my daughter. And if she found me overbearing there, am I a bad dad?
I love Bruce. Like
Yeah.
I affectionately call Bruce Big Blood. He doesn't know that, but because on the last season he was on when he was injured, I think like I was watching with some friends and like one came back and was like, what happened? And we're like, this guy's, we didn't know anyone's name. Like this guy is bleeding. They were like, oh, is it small? We're like, no, it's big blood. Like there's a lot of blood. It's big blood. So that we were calling him Big Blood. And then he came back and we were like, Big Blood is back. Big Blood is back. Like, and so I love Bruce. And I think, you know, way too much was made about his like experience on Survivor and like what an advantage that was. They were acting like it was like the Scoop and Russell Swan return. Like, he was on like one episode or like two. How many?
He lasted 12 hours in the game,
Yeah.
all of which he was concussed.
Right. So, but did Big Blood do him any favors? Himself any favors as the season went on? No, he didn't. But like, who among us? Me. I would not do myself any favors either. So, I have a real soft spot for Bruce. I hated this scene, not the scene where he talks about his experience in foster care, but I was just like, I hated that this made him feel this way. Like, yes, it's great to take criticism, constructive criticism, and like be introspective, but it was breaking my heart that he was like, you know, I think Stephen Fishback or Rob said this on Know It Alls, where it's like they viewed his introspection as more like, I'm going to get a second opinion, I think Rob said. Like, I'm going to wait and ask my family, and if they agree, then I'll make a change. That's not how I interpreted it. I really thought he was like suffering in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like how Kelly views about you as a game player and like how she can or cannot play her own game with you as an ally is not a one-to-one on like how your daughter feels about you as a dad. And I was like, Big Blood, like it was just breaking my heart.
Yeah, it was definitely a different side to Bruce that we really haven't seen all season, mostly because we've only seen him like in the background and other people talking about him. So it was nice to actually hear him speak and give his thoughts. And it was so like heartbreaking because I don't know, as like having people who have rubbed me the wrong way, and also being someone who's rubbed people the wrong way, like coming to terms with that and like having conversations about that is so difficult, but also like it's such a mature way to handle the situation, and you move on and everybody like feels better most of the time. And I just feel like because he didn't get to have the conversation with Kelly, it was all like secondhand that he was hearing, and then he has to just stay there and he can't have the conversation. So my heart really broke for him in that moment, because you kind of want to when something's like that, that's emotional turmoil, you kind of want to like, or at least I want to like fix it right away. So I want to have those conversations, and he can't. He has to wait, and he has to play Survivor in the meantime. So I can imagine like what kind of a mind of F that's got to be for him out there.
I mean, he could have pulled a Yule and just spoke directly to Kelly at Tribal Council. I'd be like, I just want to say something really quick. Kelly, I do apologize if I offended you in any way. That's the other thing that's tough about it is, Ali, as much as you talk about these sort of gamesmanship that exists and the game respects game in this season, I mean, Bruce found out that specifically, hey, she didn't want to work with you because, like, she didn't like your personality. That has to be so tough, that it's not game, it's strictly personal. And so I agree, that's one thing that does separate it a bit from the relationship back at home. But Bruce is going to keep protecting himself here. I'm getting shades of Terry Dietz from Bruce, personally. Here is one of the oldest guys of the season, has an idol but refuses to use it on his allies, keeps winning immunity, is rubbing people the wrong way. I mean, much like Terry Dietz, I don't think Bruce is destined for a win here in Survivor 45, but it's been so interesting to see everyone kind of scramble around this perennial communal target, just continually keeping themselves safe. And now, even if he loses immunity, he has that idol. He's like pulling half a Holloway at this point.
Yeah, no, I mean, who's going to stop Bruce? I don't even think I think he's got a non-zero chance to win. Like, maybe he won't get a nary a jury vote, but like, I think he could win out. Like, he's the beast of the season. But I think that's also what makes the Kelly reveal kind of difficult, because it's not like the same as when somebody votes you out and it's like betrays your alliance. It's like you find out later that the person you would have given your game away for, so to speak, your number one, was never actually with you and was working against you, but you're still in the game and you have to now make new relationships. And who can you trust? It's like you get cheated on a relationship. What do you do in your next relationship? And he's got to make that decision right now. And maybe he's not even believing that. Like, there has to be a little bit of like, this is what people just blindsided her and now they're sticking up for her and like they were working with her. Like, I don't think so. Maybe like none of this is even true.
I mean, that's what Drew vocalized, right? Is, okay, Bruce is at a very interesting crossroads
tempestuous
right now.
Like this confessional was not giving for me. Sorry.
Listen, I would be shattering any like remnants of the glass house I live in if I'm not like, this guy uses too many $2 words incorrectly, I hate him. But when he talks about this idea of, okay, either Bruce confirms that like his reality up to this point has been fiction and keeps his ego in check, or he lives with a much safer alternative, which is what Rob, I think, was postulating of, no, it's the children who are wrong. I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing. And that's got to be very tough to do. Again, I think we have a different read than what Rob did. But yeah, I mean, it's a very tough thing to face. And who knows? I mean, Bruce could end up similar to a Terry situation with like just him and the Rebas left at the final 5, which would be such a weird experience.
And I mean, so let's see. He's only been eligible to be voted for like once or something.
One
that's
day.
So
he
wild.
Has been vulnerable.
That's so
Caleb,
wild.
the like secretary of the game, like highlighting that. Checks notes, 16 of 17 days.
And that's the other thing as well. Like, it's kind of odd to see the heartbreak, the visceral, guttural aspect of Bruce's confessional, combined with Kelly, who's still a little salty, being like, well, Bruce won immunity again, and that's the reason I'm here.
Oh, brutal.
Well,
here's a question. Sorry.
No.
Like, again, I feel like the Bruce reveal, there are a few things where people could have done more to like bring people in. And that was very general. I'll get specific. So like the Jake thing we were talking about, like you can use that. The Reba saved Jake without getting or wanting anything from him. It's like you are a complete tool in our hands. Like, not you're a complete tool, like an object that helps people help make things. Like, you are a tool that we can use. And we're not even going to offer you anything in the game. We're not going to let you in on it. Like, you're over there. Like, it's not, you were not saved because of yourself. You were saved because I wanted to get rid of somebody else. Here with Bruce, like, they could have, we're going to blindside your closest ally. You're going to come back mad. And instead of like someone taking a one-on-one with him and being like, we had to get Kelly out because she was coming for you. Like, this was for you, not against you. And like, I want to work with you. Like, I will be that Kelly, but I will be loyal to you. Like, they just kind of say it to him in front of the whole, like, reveal, newsflash, Bruce, she hated you. Like, go deal with that. Like, they're not like, and is that because the Reba 4 is so strong and dominant and like, there is no real second plan. There's no opposition they're working against. So they don't even need to take these opportunities to bring in some of the stragglers.
Okay, 2 things on that point. One, are the Rebas the villains? Like, especially
they are wearing red.
Jake, like that was the and D kind of, you know, doing the like cackling thing in the confessionals about how we ate more rice, you know, and he only got like the burnt leftover dregs. That is very interesting. And then I love Ali, I love that you brought up that point, which is like, yeah, why are you not like working more? Because you essentially Drew and Austin have Emily, and then that's kind of like it in terms of bringing in other people into that, like at least giving them options, which I don't know if this is like a them versus us kind of situation of like, well, we can't, if people are going to turn in the Rebas if we start like making more relationships. So we got to really keep it like a them be us like situation where there's not a lot of crosstalk. I don't know. It's very interesting.
I have a couple minds about it because apparently Bruce's MO and the reason why he really got up in his hat about the Caleb at Mergatory was like, he was very adamant about Bellows, only talk with Bellows. Do not even talk to Reba. They are our opposition. So I would imagine on the one hand, if I'm Reba and I'm like, let me talk on Bruce's level, personally talking on Bruce's level is to not talk with Bruce at all. You know, it could be a thing where much like, again, we saw in that Mergatory vote, does he even want to engage with these people? The other side of it, I would say, is that they don't know Bruce. And I think that they are missing a prime opportunity. I agree, by not like getting to know him. You know, the best time you could have talked to him was yesterday. The next best time is right now. But remember, Bruce played this entire game up until Mergatory with the Bellows and with Caleb. And that is it. None of the Rebas had met Bruce until Mergatory happened, which was only like 4 days ago at this point. And so I agree. I think you're leaving a bit of money on the table. At the same time, they were arriving to the table, I think, a bit late compared to some of these other people.
But it's not just Bruce. It's Jake. We don't see them making bonds with Kendra. We don't see like it's really just Emily that seems to have some semblance of being able to like break into the Reba 4 sort of. But even then, like it felt like she couldn't really make any traction. Katura, we don't see those relationships there. Maybe they exist. We're just not being shown them. But yeah. I do get Ali's point about it feels like you're doing things to save people. Take advantage of those actions to build relationships with people who could help you later.
I imagine they are, but I don't know why it's not shown. You know, why are we not getting scenes of that and we're getting scenes of, oh my God, we're going to be split up. Put one of Austin's idols in Julie's bag, only for that to not come to fruition whatsoever.
It has to at some point, right?
I have fanfic, Julie fanfic, right? Like,
yes.
This is what we have been waiting for. Julie is going to be the savior of the season, which I think is a great season. Like, I don't think it's savior. I love it. Like, that has to, well, this is where the 90 minutes is messing with the noggin, because it's like in a 60-minute episode, I'm like, we're getting that idol back. Like, that has to be shown. In 90 minutes, I'm like, maybe it was just for the 5 seconds of Julie worrying, and then like, nope, we got you, and now you're not worried. But like, Julie, and you've talked about this, but this isn't the first time Julie has like lost the vote where she's tried to get Jake out. I think twice that's happened. And then also there was like that Sifu J Maya, like where I forget if she lost that too. I feel like she was also like.
She was the one that wanted to, I think, get rid of.
To keep Sifu.
She wanted to keep Sifu, and D and J Maya were pushing to get rid of him.
Right. And so, like, I feel like she is very frequently shown as not being on the same page with D. And then, like, they get there for the vote for whatever reason. But I do feel like Julie is growing in frustration about it. And she's a smart player. So, like, I mean, she's more old school in that, like, let's just keep tribe strength. Let's just get out the person who put my name down. Let's just take the easy vote. But, like, she's she's thinking about the game. Like, she's not just going along with what Dee said. She has her own ideas. Now she's got an idol in her bag. Is Julie going to be the one to turn on Reba? And Katura's in her back pocket, because we see in this episode, Katura's bringing the information to Julie about the information that she gets of who wanting to turn against
I'm number 6, but at least
Kendra.
I'm number 6 with information.
Yeah, so like, maybe, I don't think this is really gonna happen, but like, what if it happened? Like, what if it's like Julie, Emily, and Katura with the Austin's idol in the observatory with the candlestick? Like, let's go.
Well, you know what helps is that if Bruce inevitably leaves, from what we've seen so far, who's the most likely to become a challenge beast after that? Look no further than the oldest person this season in Julie.
Oh my gosh, how exciting would that be? Like, not only does Julie lead a coup against the Rebas, but she also goes on an immunity run. Like, that would be awesome. I'm so here for this fan fiction. I hope it becomes a reality.
Well, let's face up to the reality of who left this episode. And we talked about basically everybody except for the unfortunate boot in Kendra. Went out in, I think, like a big way, but also a small way at the same time. Obviously, it was tough to live up to the vote that sent Kelly out, but still, she is very much blindsided. Does not think the vote is against her. And for someone that was all about talking effusively, positively, energetically, nothing to say in response, which I think just goes to show how shocked she was by it all. Before we get into Kendra's predictions that Liana and I made preseason, Ali, any general thoughts about Kendra as we send her off here?
You know, Kendra and like Seafood, like it's like shades of like that iconic, like, I don't want to say older school, like middle school, like contestants of Survivor, like not quite all the way there, but like just fun, quirky people I don't generally interact with on a day-to-day. Like, I don't know many people like Kendra in my life. My life would probably be more fun if I did. Like, you know, we got a great story from her about her biological father. Like, I definitely think she should be happy with her portrayal on the show. I mean, I'm not going to tell her how to feel, but I would feel that way if I were her. I think she gets a great last moment. It's a small moment, but when they're breaking into tribes and she's for the challenge and she's like, who wants to be partnered with me? And I'm like, to have that self-confidence, like, I would shrink so small and just be on the worst team because I would wait for somebody. You know, that happens on the challenge a lot where they're just like, pair up right now. And the people who get the best outcomes are the people who like grab somebody that they want to be with. So I just think that was so like such a great example of who Kendra is. And she's like, I'll just get out in front and like put myself out there. And like, that's great. I love her.
Yeah, I really like Kendra a lot. I really enjoyed her energy. I thought she was so fun. She was on my draft team. I had high hopes for her, at least winning the game. But unfortunately, with my prediction, I was not so. Or Google Bard was not so high on her.
Do tell.
Okay, so I have like 4 people who are all in the mergatory category. So Kendra is one of those in the mergatory category.
I guess that's the point of mergatory, right? That only a select group of people are up for elimination.
Yeah, exactly. So I said that Kendra is a strong, independent woman, which is amazing, and we stan mother, obviously. But her free spirit also isolated her a bit, as others felt she wouldn't be easy to work with. Although I said she was in no danger early, as she was a strong asset in challenges, come mergatory, her tribe mates were concerned with her strength and yoga abilities, which might fuel an immunity run. Jake led the charge against her, despite all the rumors she had a hidden immunity idol, and she was voted off unanimously. Finally, I said Kendra collected any bugs she could find and created a bug sanctuary at Bello.
I don't think we talked about bugs in my interview with her.
I think it was like, oh, you know, she's like a save the environment kind of person. She's like a vegetarian. She's going to love animals. She's going to collect all the bugs. I mean, not eat them, save them, but, you know.
From what? Feet?
I don't know. It's like, you know, you just like, you like protect nature or whatever.
I mean, talking about old school, shades of Batty Jan from Survivor Thailand for the new era.
Yeah, specifically it was not a graveyard.
Yeah, more of a sanctuary.
Exactly, which is where good things happen. Her allies were Kelly and Katura, and her enemy was Jake.
Speaking of old school, also Shades of Survivor Guatemala, maybe the chicken was cursed. You know, she said,
Oh,
I'm a
maybe.
vegetarian. I haven't eaten in 15 years. But listen, strange bedfellows exist on Survivor. She ate the chicken. As a result, she gets voted
Good
out.
home.
We'll
As an
see.
aside, it looked like a good chicken. So I was about to say worst reward in Survivor history, but it looked like a tasty chicken. When Jeff said you're gonna go and have rotisserie chicken, I was waiting for like the rest of the fix-it and brownies and Coke
Yes.
or whatever.
Yes.
And I was like, all right, maybe he just like, I don't know. Then we get there and there's one flippin' bird. Like, I was like, there's not a single fix-in. Like, I was so upset by this.
Yeah, I agree that, listen, I don't think it's technically the worst. We've had screenings of Jack Black and Adam Sandler films. Survivor New Zealand memorably had a melted bag of chocolate. There was a fridge full of Coke when you're dehydrated in the middle of the jungle. But still, yeah, I think the description versus expectations, this was kind of the wish.com version of this reward, where it was just a singular rotisserie chicken that, granted, did look fairly big, but there was nothing. There was no table dressings. They had to dig in with their grimy, dirty-ass hands like they're medieval times visitors and just, like, tear into this bird. I felt so bad for them, honestly.
I think for me, like, it wasn't even the having to dig into it with their fingers. It was just the single rotisserie chicken sitting on a log. Like, that is what really got me laughing. There was nothing, no liquids of any kind for drinks. Nope. Like, literally,
it was
just
liquidy
the
enough.
Rotisserie chicken. Oh my god, it was so funny.
At least one per person, as most people eat rotisserie chicken. Like, I was like, this is terrible.
Maybe they thought, okay, if Kendra has a chance of not eating the chicken, what if they really tried to, like, manufacture this outcome? They said, there's a chance Kendra's been a vegetarian for 15 years. She might not eat the chicken. What if we force her to? What if we literally starve out all other options where the only thing to eat at the sanctuary is the chicken? We corner her and force her, okay, there's no veggies. There's no drinks. You must eat this chicken. You must break your cardinal rules of vegetarianism.
But why?
The challenge has definitely done that, and they've moved away from that, thank goodness, because I hate that. And I think, like, with Fessel and the hamagram or whatever on BB, they gave him, like, fake ham, right?
Yes.
Like, I really hate when someone has to violate their religious or, like, moral beliefs on the show. And I also don't like when somebody has to abstain as a result. Like, Hai didn't eat some reward, right? Because of
he actually had a moment where, like, he did eat the chicken and then he broke down about it.
Got it. Okay. So my memory is like, there's a grain that's saying that, like, Hai had an emotional moment. Yeah, I like not what's like the tofurkey equivalent of chicken. So you're right. Maybe they were trying to trap her, but they should have had some alternate. Like, I'm not down with, like, not accommodating moral and religious, like, eating restrictions. So not that you are, but Mike is for it, but I'm not. I don't know where Liana stands.
Make them break, like, all codes they have.
But, like, they should, if it's one rotisserie chicken for the meat eaters, you need, like, some tofu for the non-meat eaters at the reward. Yeah, and if they're purposely trying to engineer that, then shame on them.
Well,
shame.
I gave no shame to Kendra. I absolutely adored her. I'd said this before, starting in the preseason. Like, this is one of my favorite character types, and Kendra lived up to it and then some. So I did have her make the jury, and I did allude to this a bit in my Kelly prediction last week. This is sort of the other end of that final destination. I said that, like Carolyn, we'll see Kendra's quirky, positive energy jut up against the more dry-humored Bellow tribe. We'll get at least a couple of talking heads about how people are annoyed by her. Luckily, Brando getting booted over her and a pretty chonky win streak will get her ingratiated in with the rest of the tribe, particularly Kelly. Kendra will earn some comparisons to Izzy from Big Brother 25 for both her intense attitude in going against people and her profuse use of the F word. Pretty sure she was one of the most, like, blurred, censored contestants of the season. Kendra will face her biggest personality conflict at Murgatory when she and Hannah get into it over the latter's preseason judgments of her. Once again, Kendra will get protected at an important first vote by the Bellows. True to her invocation of Cody, because I think I asked her about the winner, non-winner. She said Cody was her non-winner. We'll get a sequence of her doing weird things to entertain around camp. That includes some combination of a stand-up set where she roasts the other players, some bar top dancing, and odd animal sounds, maybe not odd bug sounds. A few votes into the post-merge, the stars align against Kelly and her allies as they realize how big of a threat she is. And while Kelly does save herself with a clutch idol play, it unfortunately bounces back onto a devastated Kendra, who goes out with shoulders back and head held high. She'll be by far the most emotive juror. Her reaction to every single comment is worn on her face. That's a little bit TBD. Closest ally is Kelly. Worst enemy is Hannah.
Can I ask you both a follow-up question? Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Leah.
Of course. No, go ahead.
Mike, bar top dancing. I may be right. Is that the tech? I actually have 2 follow-up questions for Mike. That was my follow-up, but I just said it.
That's the question. Bar top dancing?
Yeah.
Mike?
How do you bar top dance? I feel like I would say dancing on the bar. That's what you mean by bar top dancing?
Yeah, I'm thinking like Coyote Ugly.
Yeah. Okay. So she's doing that like on the sand, like the imaginary bar, like on the log.
Yeah, like, but that type of dancing and just like, woo, like body rolls, but like
that
kind of Uncle Bar Mitzvah moves.
Yeah, work. Love it. When you said she will draw comparisons to Izzy, did you mean on the island or podcasters?
No, from the fan base. Yeah, I don't think they'd be like, I think there's going to be someone that will play Big Brother later this year.
And then, so you mentioned, Liana, that Kendra would be Mother.
Yes.
The answer can be Kendra, but who is Mother this season?
Kelly.
See, I think
on the island or in the fan base, like who's Mother on the island? Kelly still?
Oh, who's Mother on the island?
Maybe still Kelly. They had.
It could still be Kelly. I feel like a lot of people feel like she was mothering, and that's why she was targeted also for that reason. So I think I probably have to go Kelly. Scally, I think, picked Kelly, right? Or did Scally picked Kelly for
Scally
his?
Picked Kelly.
Person will not be. Yeah.
And I guess is that like the
that's the Mother Matrix?
Yeah, before the coronation is like Scally picks the Mother of the season.
Yeah, but I know that he was thinking about who to pick. Like he was debating who to pick. So there were options for Mother, and Kendra was included in that. So
now that
D could be Mother.
D could also be Mother.
I will counter though. I believe Jam Jam was Scally's last pick, and we know like Carolyn is one of the most Mother contestants to ever Mother on Survivor. So
yeah, but so did Jam Jam.
Jam Jam was like anting. Carolyn is mothering.
Like drunk anting.
Drunk anting. Not like the ants that Kendra protected in her bug sanctuary. All right, Ali, you are the judge, jury, and executioner here. Who do you think was more on the money about Kendra?
Now, I really take this seriously. And you might think that because we had a pause for me to go off about rotisserie chicken in between that I forgot about Liana's. But I obviously take notes while both of you are talking. So I'm ready to go. I think I was leaning towards a tie, honestly, Mike, when you started, because I just thought the vibes were on for both of you.
They were immaculate.
They were immaculate. I am going to have to go though with Liana because I think I'm blinded by the inclusion of the Bostonian king. But also I do think like I know Jake wasn't like against her. But
I mean, though, did you see that look he gave to her?
He was towards her, not against her. But like, I felt like that really captured like the essence of her actual boot, and so I will have to give the slight edge to Mother on this one.
Yes.
I also like that Liana sold it in the answer because when I was like, "Who's Mother?" and she was like, "Well, Kendra was in the conversation."
It was like a runner-up, the lovely first alternate to Miss Mother 45.
It was a debate.
Do we have to do this next season? Do we have to do a Miss Mother pageant?
Yes.
What was the Survivor pageant called? That
Miss Survivor.
Miss Survivor.
Yeah.
Miss Survivor. Fabulous.
So we're gonna have to do Miss Mother,
baby. Miss
All right,
Mother.
if we have Scally as a guest on next season, we'll have to do a Miss Mother pageant.
Okay, perfect.
Great.
I love that. Oh my gosh. Okay, so we have an activity today. We have a special guest who I don't know if this special guest is here or not.
He is.
Okay, great. So our special guest is here, who is actually going to get ready for a takeover, lead the game this week on the B&B. This is a B&B first. Never done this before. I'm so excited and extremely nervous all at the same time. So let's welcome in our special guest. Oh my God. It's
the talons are out.
Yes.
Here to eat all of you. I'm like Bob
Yes.
Barker, except not a piece of shit.
Starting
Oh,
off strong.
shade.
Thank you. Thank you,
We'll
Omar.
I'll tell you on offline why.
Okay, good.
Okay,
Let's get the
wait.
tea
So
later.
I'm because you made the bird comparison, and then you said I'm like Bob Barker, and I'm like, did Bob Barker be bird-like in some ways? What animal is Bob Barker to set up our game?
I don't think he can be considered an animal because he wasn't good enough, personally.
Ooh. Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Now I'm
There's
getting
some
worried because
tea.
I said neuter twice on this podcast, and now we're
Oh,
talking
I'm
about Bob Barker.
pro-neutering, but I'm
Okay,
anti-Bob
great.
Barker. Yes. I'll neuter any of you right now. I could do it. Even I know it so well. I can do it through the
Well,
screen.
now I'm really crossing my legs like Jeff did when he heard about the sword of Damocles.
Okay, also, I was going to be like, it's such a serve to have a picture of you in the background, and then I realized I, too, have a picture of myself.
That's why you thought it was a serve. You were like, yes.
Yeah, but you did it in
Okay.
preparation for this game. Look at you, little baby birds with your mouths open, agape. Some could say for
Yeah,
the
Omar
rebirth.
puking
that's
our
about to
mouths right
come.
now. Feed us, King.
Yeah, obviously. Do you want like a gruel, or do you want little bits still in it? I guess that's the
Ew.
question. Like little
So
wormies.
weird.
Give me
This is worse
bits.
than the eyeball.
Okay,
I love
bits.
I
That's
love
like
bits. I love
that's like
bits.
crunchy peanut butter versus smooth. Anyone who says smooth is a monster.
Oh my
All
god, all
right.
right. Well, you are coming in with so many hot takes, but you're also coming in with a game. And it's something that I think is, while unfamiliar in the way it's being introduced, is familiar to people who have listened to the B&B before.
Right. So this game is going to, well, actually, I thought of a new game. So the new game is all of you are going to go out for 5 minutes. You have 5 minutes on the clock to
Okay.
collect as many wild birds as you can. And then we're going to rotisserie them. And then whoever rotisseries the most birds within 15 minutes wins the
Do they have to be
challenge.
alive when you start?
You have to kill them humanely.
What
Or
if
they
they're
could be
already
dead.
Because
That's
Mike
fine.
called me a bird when he introduced me, and now I'm like, is this? I don't want to cook.
We're hunting Ali.
She's cooking. Let her
me
cook.
cook,
Okay,
but not
so
like that.
Oh my god.
Okay. Well, we'll table that for next season, but we'll make sure it's live so we can follow all the action. But
Okay.
for this season, we are going to do a repeat, but a special bird edition because Survivor 45 is bird themed. And unfortunately for you, if you have to go, I'm sorry, but if you go to the zoo with me, we're seeing every single animal. So we are getting through all 18 of these birds because they all mean something. And if you have to go to work, Liana, I see it in your eyes. Sorry, maybe you have COVID. Okay, so next
Bird flu.
question.
Just give me COVID.
Sorry for you.
I gave you an
Sorry,
excuse.
you have COVID. And if you
You have
lose,
COVID
come in
now.
last place, you will lose your vote and you will get COVID. Sorry for you.
Yes. So how do I pull up this slideshow that I have
got
here?
you. I got you.
Oh, look at you, baby boy. Okay, and then can I control the slides or no?
You can do.
Oh,
the
I can
whole
control the
portion.
slides. Okay.
All right.
I don't need you, Michael. Okay. So this is my slideshow that I made last night. As you can see, we are going to start off with all of these birds. I have compiled the 24 birds. I made this in Microsoft freaking Paint last night.
Wow.
So
Graphic
yes,
design is
you
your
can
passion.
see.
You're like the Redmond of birds. They're so
I
well
know.
packaged.
Yeah.
I did.
So these are the 18
Go ahead,
birds
sorry.
that represent each contestant. What were you saying, Ali? I need to know.
No, you did a little inside baseball, sent a list of these birds, and I was passing a veterinary hospital, and I did consider going in and being like, can you tell me everything you know about these birds? And now I regret that I didn't, because the seriousness with
They
which
wouldn't
this
have
is being
known
taken-
anything. They truly would not have known anything. So here are the 18 represented with 6 dummy birds because we will need to be mysterious towards the end. So here are your score sheet. I don't know if you can like screenshot this and keep it separately, or if you have your list. I don't care what you do. This is your game, as Jeff would say. So
Okay.
I'll give you an example first for the first one.
Mhm.
So the first one is the pelican.
the only
You can
one I
see he's
knew.
turned quite orthogonally, but this one is not for points because anyone who follows me on Twitter
Yeah.
knows that who this is. But the way this would work is if we ask this to Mike, Pelican, which Survivor contestant this season represents the Pelican? You say, I don't know. I want a hint. I give you a hint. The terms are endearing, goofy, and notable. And then if you still can't get it, and you will give a chance to steal for various amounts of points, which I will keep track with. Don't worry about it. But the answer is Jake, our Pelican.
Oh my god, this is so
Yes.
nicely well put together.
Thank you. Thank you. So I think that we should, so Mike actually messaged me off pod and said he didn't appreciate the women's alliance last week. So he wanted to start a men's alliance first and always,
Yep.
a la Roxroy. So Mike will get first choice in this game.
I will
the
draw any
Harris Hawk.
comparisons to Rockroy
Such a
as much as I
menace.
can. I don't know where
Yeah,
my shot in the dark is.
Oh, that's a good joke for people that really know Roxroy.
Nobody does. He's not on social
He
media.
lost his shot in the dark. Okay, so the Harris Hawk, this is a predatory bird off in southern United States. It hunts in groups, which is weird for birds of prey because usually they're solo acts.
All right, well, I'm going to play it safe right now. I'm going to pull a Reba. Let me get the hint to start.
Okay, well, the hint for the Harris Hawk is strategic, cooperative because they're hunting in groups, cunning, and fun because they're a more social raptor. So they're not, they're not brain dead, they have a personality.
Okay, so cooperative, I'm going to glom onto the Rebas because they are the most cooperative coalition this season. Then I look to strategic, cunning, and fun. And I feel like a good contestant that represents the combo of that, I'm going to go with D.
You are wrong. All right, we're moving down to Liana for the steal.
Ooh, okay.
No consequences, but you get 1 point only.
Okay, I'm going to go with Austin.
You are wrong. Ali, your final chance for the steal.
Okay.
I believe
feel
in
like
you.
Jesse Spano. Like, I'm so excited. I'm so scared. Is it Caleb?
No, you all got it wrong, unfortunately. No points on the board. The correct answer is Kelly.
Ah.
Of course it was
Yes.
Kelly. Of course.
First of all, you'll
course,
notice
mother.
that supraorbital ridge over the eye of the hawk that makes them look a little bit angry, a little bit resting, face. And Kelly has that. She's got a good supraorbital ridge. And also, she was the one corralling all the bellows and trying to get them to be cool. But she
Smart.
wasn't working with Harris Hawks. She was working with dumb hawks. So what are you gonna do about it?
Is that an official breed, dumb hawks?
No, they're all cuties.
God,
All right,
mother.
so she is off the board. We're gonna
Okay.
go to Liana next.
Okay.
This is the
Oh,
budgerigar. Look at that little
Budgie.
cutie this one is.
Budgies.
Little budgie, little parakeet from Australia.
yes. Oh my God, they're so cute. Okay. I'm also gonna play it safe and take the hint.
Okay, so, well, some could say this is like Saw. The hint was right in front of you the whole time. But also talented, musical, friendly, energetic.
Okay, because it's musical, I'm gonna go with J Maya
Why not Sifu? Explain your thoughts.
because J Maya just gives me budgie energy.
Yes, that is 2 points for
Yeah.
Liana. So the budgerigar, a classic pet bird, lives in Australia, large flocks. But some people don't know. Some people are saying that budgies don't have a musical repertoire, but they have one of the largest musical repertoires of all time, and they're the parrot that can have one of the largest vocabularies of all time. And they're really friendly and energetic, and sometimes to their detriment because they're trying to be friends with you, but you come across an owl, it's going to kill you and eat you. So that's what happened with Reba.
Who's saying they don't have a good musical repertoire? Like haters?
Yeah, I do. So
Haters on the internet,
So
they're like, oh, I want a big
Classic.
parrot to be big and chatty, but you don't know that the little budgie boy can do it on its own.
So the budgies are
So-
like that really good karaoke place with that giant book of songs with all the deep pulls.
Yeah, but sometimes they've got to be drunk though, because they do have a little bit of a demonic voice to them. They don't
Oh.
sound good. Well, they sound good, but their talking voice is like very demonic, but their singing is more beautiful, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now it's up to you, Ali. This is a Turaco.
Turaco.
And you may not know
Turaco.
anything about this bird, but I can give you a few things about them. They're fruit eaters. They're frantic. They move quickly. They have a very, they're very loud and gregarious. Sometimes they'll just go. My only experience at the zoo with one, he was a real cutie, but he did bite me in the face once looking for fruit. He was so excited for his meal.
Your nose? What did he bite?
Yeah, what did he think? Was
He just
fruit?
like globbed on the front, and then I was bleeding. I was like, oh. And he was like,
Oh.
"Where's my food?" and shaking his wings, little cutie. It wasn't his fault. He just wanted it.
Yeah.
Don't make excuses for the Tarako.
Would you like a hint, or would you like to just go for it and guess for 3 points?
Well, I feel like you gave me a little bit of a hint. I kind of want to go for it, but
Do it.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna be wrong. I'm gonna be wrong on all of these. Like I'm so intimidated right now.
Don't
Because I
be.
really want to do well. All right, give me the hint. But I have a
Okay.
I have a guess locked in.
The hint is authentic to themselves, flashy, too much, or just enough. It's a fine
All right.
line.
I think this confirms my original guess. I'm going with Kendra.
The answer is not Kendra.
Ooh.
Mike for the
Oh.
steal for 1 point.
Authentic and flashy. I'm gonna say Bruce.
Ding, 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 ding. That is correct.
Oh.
The distinction between Bruce and Kendra is that Kendra is too social to be a Tarako. A Tarako Tarakos, but it's not necessarily getting anywhere sometimes, you know? I
Mhm.
saw it in a group of bats, you know, it was very much the outcast and it was still going on being a Tarako. I saw it in a group of parrots. One of them bit its foot off because it was being annoying, you know? That,
What?
Who
Yeah,
did
little
who
toe.
did?
you know, they were just moving around and the parrot was like, no, and then it bit its toe. But you know what? If you look
Oh
at
my
the true
God.
essence of that little baby bird, he was a sweet little boy and nobody saw it. So that's Bruce.
I was connecting
That's
too much with the
bad.
fruit eater, and we had just talked about the rotisserie chicken, and so I was just
Mhm.
Fair
on the
enough.
wrong
But
page.
Kendra's a
Yeah.
meat eater now, you know.
Yeah, she can't go back.
Yeah.
She's tasted blood.
Oh no.
Back to Mike. Oh,
Okay.
yeah, there's Bruce. There's Bruce and his little Tarako king.
Aw.
The barn owl.
Ooh, I know this.
This is
Okay.
also an emblem of Lulu, as
The
some
barn
may say.
gonna say.
owl eats budgies,
Uh-oh.
right?
Oh no.
It
We
could.
learned that.
All right, so who ate J Maya?
Who ate J Maya?
I would not, maybe, I'm just going to say, just don't worry about that.
Okay,
Okay.
never mind.
All right, so we will not worry about the food chain this time around. I will take the hint on this one.
Okay, so cozy, comfortable homes. They often live in barns when it's possible.
Mhm.
Mind their business and great at hiding.
Great at hiding. Okay, now this is. Ooh, I'm gonna go with Sean because Sean was very comfortable at home. He was great at hiding because he had a purple edit.
You are wrong,
Oh,
as
come
usual,
on!
Mike.
That's
Oh,
so
come on! That was
shady.
right there.
Yeah, we'll
That's-
see. You know, there's a few little, you know, maybe it could apply. We'll see. Liana for the steal.
Oh my gosh. I don't
1
know.
point.
Why do they like to live in barns? Like, what's so special
Who
about
doesn't?
barns?
Well, it's a good shelter, you know? It's a good place to raise your family in a dilapidated barn.
I'd rather live in a barn than a tree.
Than outside, yeah.
Okay,
Who would-
great at hiding. I'm trying to interpret that of who I think from this cast is good at hiding. Like somebody who doesn't like necessarily put themselves into the forefront. Someone who's minding their own business. I'm between two people, but I'm gonna guess Julie.
You are wrong. Allie for
Ugh.
the final steal.
Okay, I'm between two people who are probably both wrong. I'm between because Sifu hid, but he wasn't great at hiding. They found him hiding. So then I'm sort of between Hannah on the same thought process Mike was on, or randomly Emily. I don't for no reason except that's where my brain is going. I'm gonna say Hannah.
You have stolen a point. So,
Yes!
Michael, you
Oh,
were on the
nice.
right track, but you know, Hannah changed her hair color to keep hiding. And she
Oh.
immediately, and Sean didn't quit because he didn't like the outdoors. Hannah did and went into a comfortable barn.
Mhm.
You were
With
on the right
vape.
track, but you were so off. Now, apologize to me, Michael.
I'm sorry. You were
And
right.
don't you see the glasses and this facial disc like
Oh, yeah.
next to each other? It's
And
very
she was
similar.
on the Barn Owl tribe.
She was on the Lulu tribe. Exactly right. Okay.
Facial disc.
So,
That's what that's called. The
yeah, the
white
facial
ring?
disc.
Facial
Yeah.
disc.
Wow, facial disc.
Funneled
never
in
defined.
sounds
That's
into
so
the
close to
ears.
something else that you might be able to order
Really?
online.
Wait, is that what it does?
Can you tell us? Yeah, it funnels sounds into the ears more efficiently. And
Where are their
sometimes their
ears?
ears are asymmetrical. They're just behind the facial disc, but one usually sits higher than the other in some owl species to triangulate hearing in 3D. There you go. The more you know.
What's it like to be so
Um,
good at your job? Like, if I was getting grilled right now on questions on my job, I'd be like, oh, like I'll have to circle back.
Well,
Go back after the holiday.
let's go back to how many animals I euthanize. I'm just kidding.
He's
Voluntarily.
really good at his job.
Voluntarily.
That's
yeah.
part of the job.
Part of the job.
Yeah, it is part of the job. Okay, we were on Liana, right? Because Mike failed
Yes.
that one. Loved it. All right, Liana.
Okay.
The peregrine falcon, which,
Okay.
side note, is my favorite raptor of all time. It's the fastest
Oh.
animal
That's a
in the
high
world.
commendation.
Okay, who
Yeah.
are you standing on Twitter? Let me go check. Okay, I will take the hints, of course.
Okay, the hints are athletic, unexpected, and a classic.
Ooh,
Who's a classic?
Classic. Who's a classic?
Thinking for
Ah.
you, Facebook housefrows, you know.
I'm like, is this describing me?
Does this play about me? Okay, I'm gonna go with Austin.
She gets 2 points. Liana
Wow.
pulls ahead for
Yeah,
4.
you're killing it this game,
The
Liana.
math unexpected,
Do
right?
you see? Yeah, the math unexpected. You see this falcon popping out of the air, diving at almost 400 kilometers per hour. That's pretty unexpected for the pigeon that's about to be din-din. And also, they have a sweet disposition. So they have it all. They really do. And it's a
Aw.
classic animal. Austin is like the classic surfer archetype that everybody wants on the
Mhm.
show. You know, he got it all. All right.
Makes sense.
So now the score is 4 points, Liana, 1 point, Ali, 1 point, Mike. So we really need to pick it up. And Liana's a big threat, you know. She's not managing her threat level early in this game.
Shut up.
Okay, Ali, the Mina. The Mina is often known for mimicking human speech. They're quite intelligent in that way. They can also mimic the noises of the sounds of the jungle around them. So sometimes people get a bit confused.
Yeah, I have a minor at home, and he makes a lot of weird noises. So
Okay, again, I have an initial gut instinct, but can I ask a question, a clarifying question that you don't have to answer, of course?
Mhm.
Did the appearance of the bird have anything to do with your?
I would say
categorizing?
sometimes, like Hannah, yes.
mm,
The Mina, I would say not particularly.
Okay,
And
then
anybody
I
can
will
ask
go
that
to the
moving
clue.
forward.
I will go to the hint, please.
The hint is strong first impression, thinker, and adaptable. So to put this into perspective, these Minas filled Ponderosa pregame up the wazoo. They were always swooping in and taking people's food, and people were like, I'm scared of that. What is that doing here? Why is it so bold? Why is it so brave? But you know what? It's trying to survive. It's trying to get what it wants, and it has its own opinion on how things should be done, and it's going to take its food, and they are very, very smart birds. Very prone to iron storage disease as well.
Okay, I have a very strong guess. Liana looks like she knows it. So if I don't get it, Bloom, you better be ready to
I
start.
know.
guess.
I'm
I
gonna
have a
try to
guess.
know. Ken Jong over here knows exactly.
You two
who it
need to
is.
work
I know.
together.
Yeah,
Exactly
I'm
who
gonna
this is.
say Emily.
That is correct.
Yeah.
2
Yeah.
points for
I was
Ali.
thinking Emily or Kendra.
Yes,
Yeah.
she's coming in
Emily.
hot, being like, Bruce,
Yes.
fuck you for no reason.
Yes.
Yeah, just like the Mina, I'm going to steal your breakfast and then have people in Ponderosa be terrified of them, such as, I can't, if I think of the person that was so terrified of them, I will let you know, but so many people were off put by them and they were wrong. I would always try to feed them on the side, but they didn't like that. So that's Emily.
Okay.
The next one is the hummingbird. This is back to you, Mike, and just remember the monster comes after you.
What?
Did you? I'm sorry.
Oh,
Yeah, you're eating them up. I think it's
talking
Oh,
about-
I'm dangerous.
I thought you were talking about my
Yeah.
bedroom habits. Okay, so the hummingbird.
But now my face is like yours in Ali's background. I never
Kyle,
wanted to hear
don't let
that.
him speak to me this way.
All right, so
I'm so
hummingbird.
upset.
I mean, we know that they are high energy all over the place. I mean, I'm just gonna keep staying conservative right now because we still have 12 players left. So I'll take the hint on this one.
Okay, so we have high energy, vibrant, and unique. And the reason I say they're unique is that when a hummingbird is getting low on resources or uncomfortable, or they can just go into something called torpor, where they basically like go to sleep. It's not quite hibernation, but they'll chill and just be like still on a branch all night until the warmth comes again.
Oh, really? So, because I thought the hummingbird wasn't it the thing that like they always have to keep moving, or is that a myth?
That's a myth. But I mean,
Okay.
they do have a very high they're always eating during the day, but when the temperature gets too low, they will go into conservation mode and just chill. And sometimes people think they're dead, but they're not.
Minus
All right.
1 point for trying to correct you, Omar.
Well,
Minus 1.
I will go with the contestant who is not playing dead, but actually was dead by the end of this episode. I gotta go with my first guess, which is Kendra.
That is wrong. Liana for the steal. Monster.
Oh,
The
man.
monster is coming.
Okay, I'm between two. I am going to say I'm stuck on this, like, we'll go into like hibernation mode. I'm gonna go with Katura.
Wrong.
Ugh.
Ali could tie it up with Liana.
Oh.
Is it Sifu?
All of you are wrong. The correct answer is Sean. Very
Oh,
bubbly
I know.
personality,
Okay,
very
yeah.
bright, very unique. Also, will, just dip for a little torpor
did go into
when
hibernation.
needed. Yes, when needed.
Jeff,
when
I need to
needed.
go into torpor right now.
I'm torporing right now.
Wow, it's like when you show the answer, it's so obviously correct.
Okay, who went first again there? That was again
Yes,
Mike. So we're
back
on
to the monster.
Mommy is monster, the cattle egret.
Okay.
Look at this little cutie with his little neck hidden all like that,
Very adorable. I'm going to ask the question that all of us are allowed to ask, which is, does the physical representation of this beautiful creature
I would say
have-
moderately.
Moderately.
Moderately,
Okay.
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 Like
and
it's
then I
not like
will-
a Hannah slam dunk, but it was a factor.
Okay. Then I will take the clues as well. Thank you very much.
Very helpful animal. So they often will sit on the back of oxes and other large animals like rhinos and eat the ticks off of them. So they're really being a quiet little savior. They're stealthy because they can still hunt quite easily. And then also they keep nature in order by also cleaning up all of these animals and working together within a larger group of chaotic people. I mean, animals.
Interesting. Okay. Oh, man.
I would say in that sense, a little bit underappreciated,
Yeah,
Oh,
a little
mm.
underappreciated, perhaps, keeping the world in order. Okay, I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna say Julie.
Wrong.
Ugh.
Ali for the
That would have been
steal.
my guess. Oh, okay. Very helpful, stealthy, nature and order. Looking who we've already done, who we haven't done. Ooh. Oh, I gotta get Jake's face out of here. He's a pelican. We know that.
Pella Jake. The Pelican.
Very helpful, stealthy. It's not Tobias. She melted her idol in front of everyone. Brandon?
That is wrong. And Mike for
I
the
knew
steal. Mike, you really
Oh
need
my
this because
gosh.
Liana has 4, Ali has 3, and you have a baby point. I don't even remember who won last year, but I feel like it was you.
Yeah, so I'm trying to maintain my title here. Okay, so very helpful. So now it's tough because like now I can just vocalize all my options because there's nobody left.
Yes.
Like Sifu, again, like you think about him in terms of attempted stealth. He was an attempted provider. Austin's a provider, very helpful, but he's already off the table. I'm gonna go with keeps nature in order. I will go with Drew.
Wrong. It is
Oh.
our king, Prince, slay too early, Brando. Because Brando, you don't always notice he's there, but he's cleaning up the bellow messes. And then when he's gone, look what happens. They get a tick infection and die.
See, I would have thought you would have said strong resemblance if it was Brando.
Oh, okay. Brando, the little cattle egret. Okay. But yeah, he's like a lean, longer, but he's not the great egret. Like he's not that big,
Mhm.
The great
Drew.
egret is Drew. And then this is like the Pokemon evolution. He's right in the middle.
Oh, there you go.
Yes.
All
He
right. So
evolves
no
into
points
Drew.
on the board. Yeah, we are still 4-3-1, which
Okay.
is, by the way, the only way that these non-Rebas are going to get out of next week, vote-wise. All right. We have the
come
Canada
Come
Goose.
on!
It's not
And
gonna be
this-
Caleb, right?
He might be double bluffing you.
And wait. Okay, so wait, I forgot whose turn it is.
I think it's Allie's.
I think it's
Okay,
me.
Allie's turn. Okay.
I'll take the hints.
All right. The hint is iconic, takes no BS, disciplined, powerful. If you've ever tried to restrain a Canada goose, they will fuck you up. They will
Never
like
have.
knock you with their little wings, with the little wing bones that hurt. They could break your arm if they wanted to, and they hiss
my
at you when you
God.
walk by.
They aren't they like they peck with their long neck and they like is
Heck
that
with
a
their
thing
long
too?
neck, but that lets you forget that their wings are more powerful. They can really whip you with those, really bruise you
That's
up.
so interesting because I guess we don't see appendages on a bird. I just assume I don't know that there's like goo in there, but I guess there are.
Yeah,
bones.
you think it's a smooth goose, but it's he's got substance. But also like this goose is beautiful and powerful and can have like a great, a great walkabout game, but don't fuck with the goose. Like
Yes.
If I
Be
ever
careful.
made a romantic advice column for whatever reason, I would call it the Smooth Goose.
oh yes, that's so hot. Okay, perfect.
Yeah, everybody's gonna love that.
Unsubscribe. Okay, I'm between two people.
This is
Two
for 2
people
points.
Still in the game. I'll give a hint of that where I'm thinking. Not that I have any basis to go off of. I also want to say, without exaggeration, I have never had more fun in my entire life than this. I'm getting sad. It's
Aw.
dwindling down. I'm gonna say Couture.
Leon's like, I have to go to work.
What? You're so, God, you're so
I texted somebody and was like, "I'm not available for like talk to me this afternoon."
Sorry, I'm sorting birds.
I'm busy.
Mommy always goes to work and doesn't leave me with any food.
Evie
Where's
is your
Pooja?
babysitter.
So Ali said Katora.
Allie is correct. It is Katura.
Yes.
You don't want to be Bruce going up to this goose. That's all I have to say. Bruce.
Mhm.
Yeah, Tarako Bruce going near Canada Goose Katura.
Mhm.
He's losing more than just his toes. That's all I'm saying.
And ironically
Yeah.
enough, this was the goose that took out the Canadian.
Oh, good point. Good point. Yeah, that is very deep. Deep thoughts from Smooth Goose over there. All right.
I'm good for them once in a while. Oh, look at you.
Oh, it's so cute.
Little
Look at it.
rainbow lorikeet. So for some
Rainbow-
context, is a parrot a parrot a parrot? All parrots not the same, people listening at home. So just know that this lorikeet, they drink a lot of like nectar. They're, I guess that's some sort of like weird holistic thing that people might do. I don't know. Do people go on a nectar fast? I don't know. Anyways, that's a possibility. They also are often used in these things called bird tents or like bird experiences. When you go to the zoo, like they'll have like this big thing and there's a bunch of lorikeets in it and you have a little cup of nectar and then they come and they drink it. But people don't know is that these lorikeets develop attitude and they get a little crazy and they start biting people and then they have to be taken out of the tent. Like they're bad lorikeets that go to lorikeet jail. They're not allowed in with the common
Ooh.
population anymore. And what happens is that most zoos have now adopted using budgies instead because they're much more mild natured,
Mhm.
Wow.
Classic
yeah.
J Maya. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
well, that's
classic
the thing.
J.
It's like,
Could you imagine going into a tent full of jays and then
Oh my
you feed
God.
them?
I love
so
that.
that being said, I think I have to go Sifu here. I mean, you talk about perhaps getting replaced. I think Lorik, it seems like it's like a dancing.
You're going
bird.
without the hints?
Yeah, I'm behind
right.
like
Big
3
moves,
points.
baby.
Wrong, baby.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Can I get the hints?
Yeah, so you're going from 2 points to 1 point with the hint. You're fine
Okay,
with that,
yeah,
Mother?
that's fine. Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Okay. The rainbow lorikeet is gregarious, expressive, chaotic, mischievous.
Mike's like, that's Sifu.
Sifu's not that gregarious, I would say. He keeps to himself a little bit.
Oh man. I'm gonna go with expressive. Kendra?
You got your point, and now
Okay.
you have come to tie with Allie.
Okay.
Oh, I was in the lead. That was fun.
You
were.
were both
That
at
was a fun
5.
5 minutes.
Mike is at 1, but don't worry. The very last question, Mike, is worth a lot of points. So,
But there's
and I
only
think
one
you know
person
what it is.
left.
No, there's not.
No, there were 6. There were 6 fake
There's
out
6
birds.
Oh, so
Yeah,
right,
there's fake out birds.
Oh.
We have the whole
Yeah.
cast and also the tiebreaker, which I'm just going to make a question because it's so chaotic. Okay, So next up is this is the last bird for this round, and then we'll move into guessing the people instead.
Okay.
So Liana, the ground hornbill.
Okay.
Look
Do
at
looks play any role?
No. Well,
Okay.
one part of it, yes. The rest of
Oh,
it,
okay.
no.
So who has balls on their chin?
Okay, yes, I will be taking hints. Thank you very much.
Okay. So the ground hornbill is very intelligent. They're very socially gregarious as well. Like they actually have a social hierarchy and a system. And they often will patrol looking for danger that's coming after them around their territory on foot. And they're very focused on what they need to do.
I'm gonna say Drew.
Yeah. I mean, how could you not?
No.
We all thought it was the red hair.
What?
Well, that and his like little goatee kind of does resemble the waddle.
Oh wait, Bastille.
That's the seal. No.
Gregarious and focused.
Okay, so Ali could steal this and take the lead for
I
1
was
point,
so
or Mike could really come back.
I was so focused on it being Drew. I mean, Caleb.
Wrong, Mike. This is
Yeah.
your chance. This is your chance.
I will go.
I'm rooting for you.
Thank you.
You get
Intelligent.
unbiased.
I'm gonna go with. I will go with Brandon.
The correct answer was D.
I was
Oh.
gonna say D. That was my
If
second.
you've ever met a hornbill, like that's so D, like it's so, it doesn't necessarily look like a killer, but does have the killer instinct, but can also be very like sweet and social. And I knew a ground hornbill named Maybelline, and you could pet her head sometimes, and she would come up and do that. She also sometimes would try to kill children.
Just like D. Classic
Just
D.
like D.
Classic D. Listen, if you cross D, if you're Kendra and you cross D, she will kill you.
She
Like
will
that ground hornbill trying to kill those
After
children.
you pet her head.
And I lied. There's actually two reasons that this animal resembles D. One is that, Maybelline was named Maybelline because of her long eyelashes, which are not hair, but rather feathers. Interesting. D, you can notice D's eyelashes, I suppose. And then also they have a big toe gap.
Okay.
we
The
need-
toe
we
gap
need-
was not obvious.
Well,
in
here's the
picture.
problem. We need a feet pic of these birds.
Yeah, we need a feet pic.
The problem is a lot of birds have wide, really
Yeah.
long toe, so it is what it is. Okay, we're moving into the final phase of this game. We have only a few birds
Okay.
left on the table: the
Ooh.
albatross, the caracara, the chicken/rooster, the cockatiel, the crested screamer, which is a type of duck that is
Okay, can that
fierce.
actually be the name of my romance column?
Yes.
Please.
The crested screamer is a duck, and its skin actually feels like bubble wrap because there's air underneath it a little bit, and they're extremely scary. I was always told when you go into the crested screamer enclosure to feed it, just leave its food and get out.
Oh my God.
And he was a real sweetie. I don't think he was that dangerous. And then the house sparrow, the magpie jay, the mannequin. The mannequin, people don't know what that is, but if you Google, the reason I put it on here is Google a freaking mannequin. They have dancing ability like no other. They are like so fun. The crowned crane, the weaver bird, and the zebra finch.
Okay.
All right. So
Okay.
now, Michael, you have the least amount of points. So you actually will have control of this next phase here. So Brandon Donlin,
Okay.
who do you either want to guess his animal and get the hint, or you can also get the hint of the descriptors, or you could pass it to anyone else to start the chain?
I will get the hint.
Okay. Brandon Donlin is versatile, a sweet BB boy.
This is really fucking we're just having to describe these people.
Could you grab their food? Crop infections. He needs a little bit of omeprazole every now and then, much like this animal.
Wait,
In
okay,
a
hold
clinical
on.
setting.
I
Descriptions-
infamously, when I met Brandon Donlin, the first thing I thought was crop infections.
These are descriptions of Brandon, just to be clear.
They apply to both.
Okay. So could be friends or food.
Well,
Got
that's the
it.
point of this whole thing. Every descriptor has really okay, to be fair, I made these, they apply to both. Otherwise, I wouldn't do it. is what I
Right,
would say.
obviously.
Can you go back to the list for a second? The remaining.
The bird.
Oh, the
list?
bird list. Yes. Here we are.
Okay, so I'm looking for crop infections. Could be friend or foe. I will go with. Oh, I mean, I gotta go with my first blush
You should
here, which is
read also the description again because you
versatile,
just said
sweet,
something that was wrong.
versatile, sweet baby. Could be friend or food. Crop infections. I'm sorry, I was fixated on the crop infections. All right, I will go with. What looks like a sweet little baby? I will go with the house sparrow.
Oh, Mike, no. That was your chance to get 2 points. Liana, you're up.
Okay. I'm gonna go with something that looks like it could eat or could be eaten. Wait, does that mean that it
Could be
eats
friend or food.
friend or food?
I feel like I cannot clarify any further in
Thank
fairness to
you,
my
thank
Men's
you.
Alliance,
Yes,
Mike.
yes,
Okay.
thank you.
I'm gonna go with zebra finch.
Wrong.
Ugh.
Allie, for 1 point, and you can
Okay.
take the lead over the monster, my mother.
Like the self-focused queen that I am, I'm gonna go with the only bird that I've ever eaten that's been friend or food to me, and say the chicken/rooster.
He's a rooster. Look at this
Oh,
little baby
nice.
boy.
Look at you, Allie.
Yes, Allie takes the
Oh.
lead. The rooster, it's for everybody. You meet a rooster or a chicken, like they're friendly to everybody. They're so sweet. They're so kind. People will eat them up like Sabaya did, or they will be friends with them. Those are both options.
I thought
And
roosters were mean.
have you really met a rooster, Liana?
I
They're
mean,
mean
Yeah,
to
Liana.
other.
Minus
Liana, have
one
you
for trying
really?
to correct the hook.
They can be mean, but they're also very sweet. Like I knew one named Yellow, and he was a little sweetie pie.
Aw.
And sometimes when you were training him, and you'd be like, "Hey, Yellow, get up onto this crate," he wouldn't make the jump. Like he couldn't get up there. And I think that that's relatable to Brandon.
oh yes, just
Oh,
like
gotcha.
Yellow couldn't
Yeah,
climb
couldn't
the
get up the
And
ladder.
Brandon was on
Yeah.
yellow.
Makes
And
sense.
yeah, there you go. So it all adds up
Yellow,
now.
blue.
Okay, so Mike had that opportunity. We go now to Liana for Sabaya.
I
Do you
mean,
need
I
the
guess
list of birds and the descriptions?
I guess I'll take the description.
Okay. Sabaya is assured, confident, and bold, much like this animal. Would you like the
Okay.
list?
I do have the list here. I've
Okay.
been keeping track on my own. I'm gonna go.
Shade.
Oh, I mean, I'm just saying. Yours does look cuter than mine. Mine, I just put big black boxes, so it's kind of ugly. Okay. Assured, confident, and bold. I'm going with bold as my descriptor here. Who is giving bold? And I look at the crowned crane and I see bold with whatever this thing is that's happening. But I'm getting that is wrong based on your
Wrong. Allie for the steal.
Could you go back to the birds since I'm a bad student, but I will screen cap it this time. Okay, great. So now I have it. Okay. I mean, when you read that description, I thought of, again, one of the only few birds here that I'm at all familiar with. So I'm going to say the cockatiel.
Wrong.
Okay.
As soon as you said, okay, I shouldn't say anything.
All right.
Yeah.
Assured, confident.
I mean,
and
I think that's
bold.
fine with any of the others. 'Cause-
I will go with the swan.
Ooh, that's a really good guess, but it's wrong. It's the crested screamer.
Of
This one,
course.
yes.
Not me
Like-
saying I don't know what a swan is. Sorry.
Wait, you said that these were like evil.
No, they're not evil. They're fun. I thought they were misunderstood. But also, the thing is, you go into a game with Sabaya, you might not come out of it because she's there to play.
True.
Caleb
True.
was her friend, and then she was like, "I'm gonna fuck you up," And I think that's bold. We gotta respect
Yeah.
putting that idol in there. That's bold. Having air under your skin and being a little cushion, and then also using they actually have little daggers on their wings that they can use to stab things. Like that's incredible. This is a iconic bird that
So
people
Should
don't know
Jeff,
about.
should Jeff have brought in a crested screamer to be like, all right, I'm going to threaten your rice bag?
Absolutely.
Yes.
He could have used. Yes, that's perfect. That's the twist for next season. Okay. Allie, Sifu.
He's been many guessed, but never figured out.
Many a guest, yes.
Yeah, definitely gonna need the description of the bird and Sifu.
Expressive,
Ooh.
vibrant, a hustler.
Not a
Not a
hero?
hero or a healer.
You know, yeah, I mean, the brilliance of this game is that it was much easier to apply the bird traits to people we know. Now I'm applying people bird traits to birds I don't know. What were I have the bird picture. What were the descriptors again?
The descriptors were expressive, vibrant, and a
Vibrant
hustler.
Hustler. Okay, who like looks like they're hustling here? I mean, some of them are hustling in the photos. Vibrant, expressive, violent, hustler.
Who's serving
I mean,
hustler?
that albatross looks like it's hustling to me, but I'll say the weaver bird, because if they built that nest, they really hustled. Or that might
They
just be
built that
prediction.
nest, but that is wrong because
Okay.
they're not
Oh.
expressive nor vibrant.
Well, the
Oh.
color is vibrant.
Yeah, it's yellow. That's pretty vibrant.
Yellow in a sea of yellow grass. Cool.
So vibrant.
Read me to fill. Drag me.
Drag her.
So I will go with, again, back to just looking at the pictures and the vibrant element of it, even though Omer, I think, is a bit judgmental of doing his own Insta look of these birds. I'll go with the crowned crane.
Wrong. And that was your chance, Mike. I'm rooting for Mike.
You tell me every answer that it's a chance. You just have to understand that I'll keep failing you every time.
No.
Okay.
Brother Mike.
I'm gonna go with the cockatiel.
Also wrong. Y'all need to pay attention when I'm speaking of these birds because the correct answer is the mannequin. A hustler. Why would I put that in there? This one is moving around. Okay, everybody right now take a break from this podcast and YouTube a video of a mannequin hustling for a lady.
So you meant like
that
do
is
the
incredible.
hustle, not like working.
They like
hustle.
electric slide. They like make all these noises. They are musical. A lot of the offbeat soundtracks to the mannequins dancing is rock music. Like it is literally perfect. All right. I actually almost put in the video. Yeah, I almost put in the video, but I was like, I don't know how to work that, so we're just gonna leave it.
Okay, the
All right.
Jeremiah Sifu bird concert. I'm really excited for.
Yeah, the budgie and mannequin.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Precisely. All right, Michael. Is this back to you?
I believe so, yeah.
Yes. Okay, Caleb.
All right. Let's
the Canadian, not the Canada Goose. Don't get them confused.
Give me some descriptors of Caleb here.
All right. Charisma, swagger, intelligent.
Great. What is the
this
most
won't help you
charismatic
unless you
bird?
really know these birds, So
yeah, I don't know what bird has the best riz. I don't know.
well, I mean, actually, it is kind of obvious from the picture, in my opinion.
Okay, all right. Which bird?
And also, there's always the classic question that's been asked every now and then, but I haven't heard it in a while.
I will go with. I'll go with the cockatiel. That hairdo's doing something for me.
Omer trying to help you, and you just like, no, I refuse to be helped.
Okay, I'm gonna go.
And now Liana gets the help.
The crowned crane.
Correct.
The hair.
Bloom, the hair.
But the hair was also good on the cockatiel.
True, but it's more like a
different
singular.
Yeah, this is like the crown, the crowned crane. Look at those two side by side. This is the one where the resemblance was the strongest to the actual
I
bird.
should have asked that. You're right.
They look exactly the same.
It's the same picture. It is the same picture. Yeah.
What's the difference?
Oh my God, which one's Caleb? Should Caleb have subbed out for the crown crane?
I don't think the crown crane could have done better than Caleb.
Imagine Kelly and a crown crane sitting on the jury.
Oh yes, a Harris Hawk and a crown crane. That'd be so amazing.
So good.
All right, Liana gets Julie, and the score is 6-6-1.
Okay.
You can guess the one.
For a tiebreaker, I'll laurel it. I'll give him one point to whoever I want.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I guess descriptors.
Okay, so we have determined, goal-oriented, and doesn't give a fuck.
Okay, I'm going with the swan.
Wrong.
Ooh, I wanted to go with the swan. All right, now let me remember what birds have been taken. King Riz has been taken.
Yeah.
Chicken and swan gone. Mannequin gone. That hustling. guy, crested screamer, gone. Okay, I've learned a lot about these birds. This has been
I
educational
know,
and
this
fun.
is so educational.
Determined, goal-oriented, doesn't give a fuck. Well, I'm like, what was that like poem about the albatross? Is that like helpful to me at all? Okay, there's one bird that is screaming that it doesn't care. And I mean a couple of them maybe, but I'm gonna go with the magpie, Jay.
Wrong. Mike,
Do you see what I see though in
Yeah,
that
I see
photo?
what you
I see what you
Ah,
see.
it's a Christmas songs coming to the
Can I
B&B
give
early.
Mike an additional hint because of where he's
Yes!
at?
Give me bumpers
don't
on my
love it.
bowling lanes.
Both of them have to agree to it.
What do you think, Ali?
I don't love it. I don't love it.
Okay,
Don't
all
love
right.
it.
No,
But yeah, no, I'll
no
defer to the
hint.
host.
I'm in
I'll defer
bird
to the
He can only
poverty
get
right
one
now.
point. So he's like mathematically eliminated. So I think that there's no.
I was mathematically eliminated like
Okay.
halfway through the game.
Yeah, but
So
now you're.
Give him a hint,
goal-oriented is the key here.
Yeah, does that
Goal-oriented.
help you, Mike?
It does
Like-
actually, because I am
Yeah.
going with the bird that has a goal in its picture in which it is building a nest, and go with the weaver bird.
Yeah.
Ding, ding, ding. Mike gets it. Have you ever met a weaver bird? They will laser focus on their task. They will make that freaking nest going back and forth. They know what they need to do. They have the blinders on. They don't need to see peripherally because they know what the task is. And Julie's task is getting the Reba 4 to the end. She's got it on lock. So that is the weaver bird. All right. So Mike
Okay.
now has 2 points, 6 and 6. So this
Pity
is
points. Pity
Ali.
points.
This is a bar
Ali
top
is
dance,
the
by the way, Ali.
last
Sure.
chance for Drew the seal. You could get 3 points if you guess it without a clue, 2 points if you guess it with the clue, and then 1 point for stealing if you don't get it.
Okay, so but Liana and I are tied.
Yes.
Okay, that's interesting because I am incentivized to want it to go to the tiebreaker because we were prepped on the tiebreaker. Can I ask first if the physical resemblance is relevant here?
Mild. I would say mild to like not completely nothing, but not a huge factor.
Okay, because like one of them is giving slight vibes to me.
I don't know which
But
one it
I'll,
is.
I'll go to the clue. I'll go to the clue.
Okay. Scholarly, adaptable, cunning.
Ooh,
Cunning.
what has a high IQ?
Okay. I feel like maybe you'd include the cockatiel as like a red herring because you'd be like, these like bird noobs are just going to keep picking that one bird they know. But
Which I did.
I did too. I was like, the only bird
I
I'm
named it out.
familiar with. Like, okay, so what's still on the board? Albatross on the board, cockatiel on the board, magpie on the board, caracara, and house sparrow and zebra finch and swan. Okay, so 7. You had 6 fakes. That makes sense. Okay, scholarly, adaptable, and cunning. Okay, given that my only encounter with an albatross was scholarly related, I'm going to pick the albatross.
Wrong. Michael.
Oh,
For the steal.
So-
You laurel them right now and make them tie by getting this. And
oh,
actually, if
Hmm.
you get this, you know, the tiebreaker is worth 3 points. So
wow. Okay, well, I don't think I will, but let's take a look here. So cunning, I'm interested by cunning because cunning to me implies like something predatory, and right now the only bird left that looks pretty predatory to me is the caracara.
well,
which
do you
I-
guys want to know which ones are predators and which ones are not?
No,
Yeah,
you
that's it.
cannot give that information to him.
All
No,
right.
Help
I'm
me!
sorry. No.
Help me! I know it's fine.
I'm interested in learning more after the game.
All right.
All right, so scholarly. So what bird looks the most smart? We know it's not the albatross.
Which bird looks the most smart by human
Yeah,
standards?
which birds don't look dumb? Okay, I'm gonna go with. Ooh, now I know that like sparrows. I mean, like smaller birds. I feel like have to be pretty cunning because they live in this world where size matters. So I will go with. But they don't seem very smart. I'm just gonna go with the caracara and hope for the best.
Wrong. And finally, Liana.
Oh my gosh.
For the win.
Okay, so the thing is, I have no idea what I'm doing. So aren't magpies smart? They're like crows. Then they like collect shiny things. And Drew gives me collecting shiny Pokemon, right? So I'm gonna go with a magpie.
Liana is right.
Wow,
Magpie
nice
J.
job.
The Magpie J is a corvid. They are, and actually, it's kind of they're not even a magpie. They're a Jay, you know?
Oh
So,
yeah,
but
we
the
know.
Jays
Yeah,
are within
So they're
totally.
the
yes.
Crow,
So they're magpie by
Raven.
like name only, by marriage.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Crow,
They're
Raven. Well, maybe I should look this up to be sure. But yes, they're very smart. I've seen one in action at the zoo. They're always zipping around doing something a little bit mischievous. You can't keep track of them quite, but they almost seem above it. Like they're not like they're scholarly. I feel like so that is Drew. He's an Oxford boy, and this is an Oxford bird. So that makes Liana at 7, Ali at 6, and Michael Scott Bloom at 2. So I do think we have to declare Liana the winner, but we should still do the
Yeah,
tiebreaker.
let's do
Okay,
the
let's do it.
tiebreaker.
I'm really proud to lose to somebody who was able to sort of use bird knowledge to get the win there. That was really
Agreed.
impressive. I'm very
Agreed.
impressed.
Very applicable. So the tiebreaker is which survivor, past or present, is most like a cloaca. You will give me the survivor, either the season or of all time, that best represents the cloaca, keeping in mind it's messy, it's clean, it's everything all at once, it's versatile, there's poops coming out of it, there's urates coming out of it, there's eggs coming out of it, all three, one whole, that's very one world of us. The cloaca does it all. Perhaps that's a player with social, strategic, and physical powers. Who's to say? It's up to you. It can also be a prolapse. It can pucker. It can impact. It can be explosive. It's less forgiving if you have arthritis. You get a little caking there if you can't project
Wow.
as normal. And a lot can go wrong, but a lot can go so right as well, especially if you're an endangered species. So I will select the winner. I'll give you the Chizzy points, 3, 2, 1 on it. And I told you to prepare in advance. So
Yes. And I am realizing that I misread the prompt. So I thought it was
Start with Liana.
I thought it was Survivor season. So I was going to say Micronesia, but now that I'm actually reading it, I'm realizing you want a player. So I can't just say Micronesia as a whole and kind of like hope for the best.
But as
So
a whole is on target.
Yeah,
Yeah,
as the whole.
As a whole.
Yeah, that's fair. But we will start with Mike then, because he's in last place, and work our way up to first, so you can have a moment.
Oh boy. So yeah, I'll explain. My logic is that it's tough because you want to go with like the big figures. But if you look at people like Tony, you look at Boston Rob, you look at Sandra, they all pretty much play the same way every time. And it's tough to talk about like that adaptability and that versatility, considering that again, they're not exactly representing the poop, the urates, and the eggs all in one.
This is like a final tribal speech. I love it. Keep it coming. I'm listening.
Exactly.
I've been on a jury before, so
Let's talk about the poop section of the game. Who most represented the poop? So I will instead go with somebody who I think is very well-rounded in all 3 areas, who has had things go incredibly their way, but then also have things disastrously blow up in their face, and someone who was very clean on a very messy season. Screw one world, we're talking one whole. I will go with Kim Spradlin.
Ooh, okay. So we have Kim. Okay. How about you, Ali? You're next.
So I maybe took a bit of a different direction. I really was focused on it can impact and it can be explosive in your
Hey, can I pause you for a second? Because you
Please.
can really see Liana thinking. And I like that. Okay.
Caught her where we
continue.
want her.
I'm not going to build. I'm going to set the scene by telling you who I picked, and then I'll tell you why. I picked Jerry Manthe.
Oh,
a lot of people might say that she's full of shit, which I think
Mhm.
was relevant here. She did once say in an interview that she got terrible diarrhea, so things passed through her on the season after a word on Australia. If you've had beef jerky, she will know about it. Similar to, well, now I know birds don't really have beef jerky, but I was thinking more of a
Wow, imagine if they did.
she's been both hero and villain, and I think most importantly, she was essential to the success and longevity and life, if you will, of the franchise as a whole, as the cloaca is.
Very good
Okay.
point. Good points.
We like that. Okay. Liana.
In my thinking, I have thought of Natalie Anderson. And I think that she's someone who is also, I mean, especially when we look at her 2 seasons, when we compare San Juan del Sur to Winners at War, like so versatile. You had a queen who was, look, a little messy, a little bit out there. She was strategic. She was also physical. We see that in Winners at War. She was able to come back into the game completely, like 2 completely different games. She literally played 2 completely different games. And I don't think she has arthritis. So that's my final
Okay,
final point.
love all 3 of these answers, and I have to say, when I heard Mike's, I was like, I don't see anybody topping it. Then I heard Ali, and I was like, wow, I really buy into that Jerry Manthe mess. And then I was like, I don't see how anyone could top it. And then now I hear Mother Queen herself coming in with Natalie Anderson, and who is so good at the game physically, who is so good at the game strategically that we've seen, who is so good at times socially, but then who can also make a big mess on the edge of extinction, getting into fights, getting voted out first, winning, everything in between, coming back from the edge. I think this is brilliant, and it has to be Natalie Anderson. That is the Cloaca Queen.
Wow.
I wish I saw it before.
You're so good, Liana. So good.
Cloaca Queen, we stand.
Like, do
Speaking
we
of
all see that?
misreading, I first Googled, like when I saw this prompt come through, I Googled it, not realizing it was a bird's ass. And I was like very confused. I thought it was a type of bird because I just like did a quick like read in Google and was like, what are these images? And then I went back and was like, this makes so much more sense.
Ali's algorithm is so F.
I like to sign off my emails with, instead of like thankfully or sincerely, it's cloacally.
Cloaca.
Oh, adverb it. Okay.
Okay, so
Cloacally, Dr. Zahir.
like to put things in perspective, I saw a TikTok that was like a woman who found a scarf. I don't know, I guess it was like a thrift shop scarf or something, that had a cloaca on it. And I sent that to Omer and was like, inspo.
Yeah, I want it. I want it.
Okay, listen, Christmas is right around the corner.
There we go. And also the Amazing Race. I didn't even think of it. I'm just still thinking about Natalie and the cloaca and how accurate it is. You saw Natalie on the Amazing Race? That is a cloaca too.
Yeah.
Such
incredible.
Cloaca. Classic cloaca.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think it makes sense that Liana, win this, considering that she like absolutely crushed this game.
I don't know if a 1 point
Ali
win
was
is actually crushing. I just want to say, but like,
Ali
yes,
was 1 point behind. It was.
I will give it up.
Close. Yeah.
Well, Mike has won one of the animal games now, and Liana, it's close. And Ali gave you a run for your money, mother. So what can you say? Thank you for having me. What a fun game.
No, thank you, Omer. Seriously, that was, God, incredible. Anything else you want to say about this episode, about birds, before we continue on our merry way here?
I did like that I thought that rotisserie chicken looked delicious, personally. I know a lot of my clients would probably not like to hear that, as I do see many chickens, and I would never eat any of my patients. Let's be clear. Many of them have had antibiotics that are not consumable any further, but even then, I still love them.
Oh,
Brandon also shook by you saying this.
I would eat Brandon.
Out of all of them, he would.
Oh
eat
yeah.
Brandon.
Well,
yeah.
he'd be the easiest to catch, I think.
I think he would. Easy to catch, and then he could be like a meatloaf. He could be like a steak. He could be what are the other, like a roast, stew, like versatile.
Okay,
Omer starring in Sweeney Todd on Broadway.
Yeah, I was gonna say I didn't realize that this turned to cannibalism by the end, but I would expect nothing less from the B&B. Well, Omer,
Teriyaki Brandon.
Teriyaki Brandon is a great way to end things on. Omer, thank you so much for everything you brought, and we'll hear from you in a couple of weeks, I know, as well. But thanks again.
Yes, thank you, and great work. Peace out.
Thanks, Omer.
All right, so that's gonna do it for this week on.
Well, should I, by the way, come and host a game? But I don't have any expertise. Like when Omer's,
I'm excited to play the lawyer game.
Yeah, what law matches up to which Survivor contestant?
Yeah, let's go through the Bill of Rights.
I could do Housewives, maybe. Like,
oh yeah,
okay.
Actually, you know what? That'd be fun. I don't know anything about Housewives, so it could be. I mean,
I'd
it'd be
have to
either
consult
it'd be
Jacob
very
and
bad for
Maggie.
me, which these games have been, and very good for Liana, which these games have been. So let's just continue the trend.
Drag queens. We could do drag queens.
Oh, yeah. Well, we did
There
that
we
with
go.
All-Star 7, I remember, back in the day. So, yeah, we could bring that back. So, to finish things off, let's continue a different trend. Of course, we give our guests an opportunity every week to highlight a charity or cause that is important to them. Ali, the spotlight is on you. What would you like to underscore?
What a hard right turn. I wish I had some bird charities I knew of just for what they've been giving to us today and on Thanksgiving, really. I mean, I'm gonna go with an organization I've donated to recently at my own school, my alma mater, in terms of combating anti-Semitism on campus. So I donated to my local, well, not my local anymore, but at the time, Northwestern Hillel. If you have a university that has a Hillel presence, it's a good way to combat anti-Semitism on campus, which has been increasing in these very, very difficult times. You can also donate to Hillel International. They're just sort of umbrella organization. Yeah, it's very interesting to be here. I looked at what I've highlighted in the past, and twice was the ACLU and once was the Drag Defense Fund. It's interesting to sort of, I don't know, be here on my own account. So I'm very uncomfortable telling people to donate to organizations that personally impact me, but here we are. So yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Or obviously any organization that's meaningful to you.
Yeah, I mean, it's your spotlight for a reason, and thank you for being so open, as not only here as well as, in other spectrums online. This was so much fun. Thank you, Ali. This was a more meaningful and delicious meal than handfuls of one rotisserie chicken sitting on a log with no utensils. Of course, you mentioned it many times. You are covering the challenge with Brian Cohen, which they have still continued, in my opinion, the nonsensical idea of putting it on at the exact same time as Survivor, to the point where now they're both 90-minute episodes. Well, give us a sort of like a check-in. How are you feeling about this season? Would you recommend people check it out, albeit, perhaps the day after it airs on Wednesdays?
I'm also unprepared to advocate for my own show. No, which is very funny, and I'm sure Brian mentioned it. I have to listen to his podcast this week. He did 35 minutes alone, and I got a text message from him Thanksgiving Eve, like, oh my God, I never added myself I was in the waiting room of the StreamYard, so he had to re-record. He did 35 minutes of himself in the audio. So I was like, okay, he's just not doing it this week, which, like, whatever, good for him for even wanting to do it. And then I saw a podcast release. I was like, you did it again. So that's amazing. Shout out to him. Check that out this week.
Yes.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun because it's like a totally new-ish cast. Like, you have a lot of Survivor people like Michelle Fitzgerald and Jay are on there, but they've done something where it's all people who haven't won. And really, I think Big T is on there as the biggest, like, veteran with 3 or 4 seasons under her belt. So there is no like massive true veteran alliance that has been there for 40 years, deciding all of the moves. It's seeing some new people really get in the mix who I think are going to be the future of the challenge, which is a cursed word on our podcast, but here I am saying it. And then they've sprinkled in, because they're not going to let you be vetless. Now we're in the chaos phase, which is very aligned with the B&B. The chaos phase where we're sprinkling in some, Jordans, and, Kaz looks like she's going to be there. She's there this week. So it's a lot of fun. We're doing some new people, meeting new people. We're having a lot of fun on the podcast. Rob has a website.com/challenge feed. And see how good Brian was after an hour and 10 minutes of talking to himself. Slay.
Listen, I'm here for the Brian Cohen monologues, personally. Anything else you'd like to plug as well?
Very strangely, Akiva and I recorded an episode of New Girl, Old Guy where we'd like sort of use the episode of New Girl as a rough structure to talk to each other. 5 seasons in there. We recorded an episode like a week and a half ago, and I have never done this, but I have procrastinated editing it so much that it has yet to be released. So I will hopefully today edit and release that. But check us out there, anchor.fm/New Girl Old Guy. That's not the current link, but it will take you there. I don't know the current link because we are just vibes,
It'll take you there at some point. It's a little bit of a hop, skip, and a jump, but it's the scenic route. Liana, what about you?
Well, Masked Singer and Lego Masters were both on hiatus this week because of Thanksgiving. So we were not recording.
CBS can never.
I know, right? But next week they will be back. So then we'll do Masked Singer, and then we have 2 more episodes of Lego Masters before we wrap that up as well.
All right. So due to the holiday at the time we're talking, I am not done my exit press for the CBS shows. So actually tomorrow, I, as well as all the other great interviewers out there, will be speaking with Kendra. Very excited. Again, I absolutely adore her. And I'll be intrigued to get a lot of her thoughts, considering that she was not personified as one of the more strategic presences on the show. Would love to get her sense as to what her own strategy was, how she sort of perceived the dynamics, as all of us are kind of yelling from our couches of like, why don't they just work against the Rebas? I'm sure she'll provide some context to that, as well as surely some fantastic sound bites from her. I'll also be speaking with the team most recently eliminated from The Amazing Race. Did a podcast about that with Rob and Jess. Then over on Post Show Recaps, I started covering a new show. Fargo is back for a 5th season. It's been gone since like November of 2020. It's a really fun cast. It's John Hamm. It's Juno Temple from Ted Lasso. Actually, Ali Lamorne Morris is in it as well. So it's actually had a really, really good first episode and a good second episode as well. I'm covering that with Grace and Latanya. Of course, we will continue to cover Survivor 45, as well as next episode, we get into double digits. What's going to happen? Are we going to continue down this train of the Bellows getting picked off one by one? Will Julie's bag idol become something that comes into play later? Will a split occur? We shall see as November turns to December and we close out not only Survivor 45, but the year proper. Of course, if you have any games, send our way, rhapbnb@gmail.com or hashtag rhapbnb on social media. And again, in absentia, but major kudos to Omer Zahir. My God, putting us to shame with the production values, the thinking, absolutely top notch in so many ways. So thank you again, Omer, for everything that you brought. We're going to take flight, much like many of these birds, though probably not all that Omer outlined this week. Next week, we'll get into episode 10 of Survivor 45. Until next time, everybody, we'll check you out at your next stay.